Welcome to the On Point Podcast, a channel dedicated to helping you be the best hunter you can be. On Point is designed to help motivate and inspire you to get more out of yourself and your gear during your next hunt. If you're looking for information that will directly impact your success and help inspire you to go on new adventures, whether you're hunting with a bow or a rifle, On Point is the channel for you. Welcome everybody to episode 1. This is the episode where I get to sit down with Trent and Cody from Born and Raised Outdoors, and we literally cover pretty much everything. If you're wanting to hear about gear, to elk hunting, to how to get sponsors, start your business, and start your journey in the outdoor industry, this really does have it all. We cover stuff, how to hunt with a family for 50-something days. It literally, we hit pretty much every area I was wanting to go over and then some. So it was an awesome podcast. It flew by. I think it's like 2 hours long, but it absolutely just flew by. And I'm sure I'll be having them back on the show again. So hopefully we got some of your guys' questions answered. I did make sure I asked a lot of them. And give me some feedback. Give me a review, 5-star. I'm going to continuously have giveaways, a.k.a. bribes for 5-star reviews. But you have to leave a comment. I had a handful of guys or girls that did not leave comments with their 5-star reviews, so they didn't get entered because I don't know who it was. So be sure to give a 5-star review with a comment, and you might win a bribe. So there is that, which brings me to Onyx Maps. Thank you for the donation. These guys support the podcast. They believed in me even before pretty much the beginning when I was talking to them, and they are just such cool guys, such a great company to work with. And they have donated an elite membership for a lucky listener who qualified either on Instagram or by leaving a review on one of my other platforms for the podcast. And just thank you so much. And if you haven't got your feet wet with Onyx Maps, it's super cheap to do it. I mean, you can do it for $30 or less, pick your state, and then just find tons of new area to go hunt. What's that ranch over there? Or what's that little chunk of property over here? I've always liked that area. Can I hunt that? This will answer those questions for you. I have added a lot of hunting area just outside of town where I live that I never knew about. I mean, it's insane. It's like Google Maps for hunters. So go give them your business. If you don't win, at least check them out. It's a great present for somebody. I usually give it away for birthday or Christmas presents for folks that hunt. It's awesome. So thank you, Onyx Maps, for doing that. And I look forward to working with you guys more in the future. So with any more ado, let's dive into this episode. I will announce the winner in the end. But thank you guys again for tuning in. And thank you, bro, for making an awesome episode for the first episode of the podcast. So let me know what you guys think. Leave me a review. Make sure you leave a comment so you can get entered in the future giveaways. And I will see you on the next one, guys.
We are recording.
And we're live.
I had a little bit of a heart flutter there.
Little palpation.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I had to go to the bathroom already, so.
I love it.
Thank God for the pause button.
I love it.
So thank you guys for coming on to the show. This has been a while coming.
Yeah, first off, I just want to say thank you. It's super humbling that you wanted us on your first show. It's I just thank you so much, and it's so awesome to watch you grow and watch you've done what you've done, and it's amazing stuff, man. Thank you.
Well, I've had the opportunity to watch you guys for the last 9 years, 10 years? How long
have you guys
11
been doing years.
this?
11.
11.
Yeah, started in 2007.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. How'd this whole thing even get started?
Well, it just started out actually. Long story short, it was a bunch of guys that were watching television and watching the Outdoor Channel and seeing stuff that wasn't real, pretty much. And so I think it just kind of inspired us to that, not real, and the fact that we live in Roosevelt country and you never got to see Roosevelt hunts very often. And we wanted to portray a real Roosevelt hunt like we experienced it all the time. So we tried to do that and found out it was harder to do. That's why nobody had done it.
It was a difficult task.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You never realize how hard it is until you actually try doing it. Like I was watching Solo Hunter on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do that. I'm going to go out and make some of my own videos. And then I didn't get one shot on film all year last year. It's like, oh my gosh, this is way harder of a challenge. And then you add in rainforest country, raining all the time. You add in really bad visibility. We're talking autofocus, manual. There's just so many variables you can't even take into account before you get out there and do it. It is a challenge. And then with last year with the Land of the Free project, you guys killed it.
Well,
Jumped right in.
we did jump right in.
We got a little lucky on day one. Just say,
Yeah.
couldn't have scripted that any better.
And that's the whole thing. If people look at that project and say, "Wow, that's how Roosevelt goes," that's not too bad. I'm going there.
Right.
Don't take that for a second. It's very difficult, and we just got very fortunate in the Roosevelt scene on the project last year. It was awesome.
Right. Those Hessian guys kind of got spoiled on
Yes,
the
they
first.
did.
What was it, like 3 days? Or
Yeah.
Killed 2 bulls in 4 days.
Yeah.
That's incredible. You don't hear a lot of guys doing that around here, and then you sure as heck don't hear it with cameras in their hands.
Yeah. It was. We were very blessed on that one. It was a good time.
So where'd you guys even learn how to put down elk like that?
Trial and error.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we always talk about now. I think we talk about so much if we knew then what we know now. Not saying that we're great mighty hunters at all, but at the same time, just some of the things that we've learned through the years and how back then elk were more uneducated. I would say calling wasn't. I mean, it was everybody was doing it, but not at the level that people are doing it now.
Right.
So I think the elk were a lot more responsive, but. So you do. I mean, it is important to us to sound real, to do everything that we can to mimic exactly what we're hearing, and that's kind of how we grew through it, and that's what made us successful. And just watching elk behavior, and
Teamwork.
what they do. Oh yeah.
Did your guys' families grow up elk hunting, and
Yeah.
were you brought into it, or did you have to cut your teeth yourself?
Yes and no. I mean, we all elk hunted. Our families did throughout the whole time, but. I mean, Dad, he kind of innovated, had a little bit something to do with the calling thing. My dad did, and with Abe Moline back in the day, and anyway, and they had these, what was it, swimming pool pipes or vacuum cleaner, hoses,
the hot tube hoses,
hot tub hoses or whatever, and they integrated that and then put some reeds on them and made some external stuff and made some sounds out of them and got some elk talking.
You said Abe. I have a Abe and Sons bugle.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
yeah.
exactly.
Oh, man, that's
Ralph Moline's
my
the guy that-
first one. Yeah.
So Steve Howard, who's in our group, he used to actually work in Abe Moline's shop.
Okay.
When he owned an
Building
archery
those
shop there.
calls.
In Coos Bay. And
That's
so,
pretty cool, man.
Yeah, he built calls a long time ago. So
I love using local gear or semi-local gear. It just makes it that much more special when it does happen.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
But so if people don't know, you guys have a lot of DVDs out prior to the Land of the Free project, and in the beginning there was more than just you guys. It was you had Ty.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Towards the end there, Josh Keller came in somewhere. In
Oh
there.
yeah.
Yep.
And that's where Cody kind of touched on teamwork. I would say 90% of our success is we work as a team, and we're out for one goal, and that's to get that shooter a shot at an elk. And you have to be as selfless as you can in order to make that happen. And by doing that, your success rate goes way up.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, I talk to a lot of guys that are like trying to get footage, and my question is, are you willing to lose an animal because you're filming? Like, are you willing to blow a chance? And if you're not going to get the footage because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Africa, I lost a really good opportunity at a huge black wildebeest because I was wanting to get that shot on film. That's a big motivation for me going there. And like, if you don't have a guy that's willing to leave his bow in the truck, I think you guys even said that before. Like, if you're filming that day, you're not shooting.
No,
Period.
yeah,
No.
that's just it. You basically carry the camera. You don't carry a call. You don't carry binoculars. Carry the camera.
So, talking about cameras, what are you guys carrying around? What kind of cameras and gear and stuff?
I mean, we've got crazy to think like the evolution. When we started, it was all on tape, and it was like mini DV. It wasn't even HD
Really?
at that time. So went from there. That was a Canon GL2. Then we went to an HDV tape. And that was
The handy cams, remember?
yeah. We had the little handy cams. We
Yeah.
had the big.
Oh, yeah.
We had big Canon XH-A1s. Broke those. Broke pretty much everything that's been about. Then went to Canon T3i. Panasonic GH4, and now we're rolling Sony A6500s.
Really?
And it's been the best setup ever.
Super simple.
Yeah.
Does a great job. Even I can use it.
How many
So it
cameras
works.
did you guys lose to rain?
You know, in the past,
Yeah.
over the
I don't think we ever dunked one 100% and broke it. I mean, the one like
it is pretty cool when you turn it on and it
it
says
says moisture.
Moisture.
Yeah, it wouldn't
Will
even
not
record. Yeah. Now, I mean, like those Sonys, they're pretty dang weatherproof. I mean,
Really?
yeah.
we have been some nasty stuff.
snowing and cold and
Yeah.
it eats some batteries, but yeah, still performs. So that so that like thinking back, we used to have to watch the tape, write the time codes down of like the in and out points on the tape, and then we'd manually like put that in an Excel sheet, and then we'd play it back to capture that like all real time. So if you shot an hour's worth of footage, it took you an hour to watch the tape to put the in and out, and then it took you
Really?
that same hour to play through it to record it. So 3 hours just to like bring it in. Now slap an SD card in, and 5 minutes later you're up and going and rocking and rolling. It's
Really?
like brutal, but I'm excited. We're gonna do some videos like where we're literally gonna go to that tape box now and like pull those things out.
Oh,
And
really?
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of the nostalgic feel.
Exactly.
Throwback.
Throwback.
That's going to be cool. One of my goals of this episode was because I was telling you guys earlier, I want people to know you guys like the local folks do that haven't learned about you guys previously to the Land of the Free project.
Gotcha. By the
know,
way, I'm
like-
Trent. This is Cody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You should identify yourself.
And this is the On Point podcast.
I'm definitely going to use that in an intro. So,
Oh man, yeah, no. Where were we?
talking about getting people to know you guys outside of the Land of the Free, pre-Land of the Free. Like all the DVDs,
I got you.
the
Okay.
Ty, the back when Ty was a part of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now they got the Shooting the Bull podcast, and they're kind of doing their own thing. Are you guys ever going to hook up with them and hunt with them again?
Hopefully, yeah. Like just our calendar dates have just not been. Yeah, it hasn't worked for us. So, yeah. I mean, like the DVD side of thing, 2007 we filmed Tagged Out, produced it in 2009, actually 2008, I guess.
Yeah.
And then The Reason, which was our second DVD, was 2008, 2009 seasons. Then the one that kind of like got some legs for us was 30 Days. So
Right.
that was our third DVD. That was 2010 and 2011 season. And then put out Uncommon Ground, which was a TV show that we had on Sportsman's. And that was 2012. And that was our first year going out of state as a group. And we drew Wyoming that year in a general. And that like kind of
Scared. I mean, honestly, it took
Yeah.
us a long time. If you look at those dates, it took us a long time to go outside the box, right? And that's kind of the thing that we to entertain, educate, and inspire is our goal, and that was that for even us. It was like, whoa, that seems like something that's just unobtainable. Going to, Wyoming, no way, and
Place you've never been.
Yes.
No, I mean the craziest
No.
thing about that trip, I drove 1,200 miles. I picked up our buddy Chris Apui in Boise on the way through. He was hunting with us as well. He was going to dental school with Trevor. That's how he got synced up with us. Picked him up, drove to Wyoming because Trent and Trevor couldn't come over till the next week, so it was just Chris and I hunting together, and then Ty and Steve were north in another unit. Drove 1,200 miles, and literally at daylight the next morning got woke up by a herd of elk
Really?
running through our camp, and it was like, whoa, you couldn't do that on the Oregon coast. I mean, no way.
Was that kind of like the dart throwing thing you guys talked
Exactly.
about?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a good dart.
That was a good dart. That was,
We've honestly, in every single place that we've ever hunted, we've never been scouted ever.
Really?
Yeah, none of us have ever put up a trail camera ever.
So
Ever.
I want people to know this isn't just luck. There's something going into this. I'm going to call it e-scouting, the Onyx, the Go Hunt.
Totally.
You guys
And
are
I'm
using
not
tools.
saying we
Yeah,
just
yeah.
went like, hey,
Yeah.
let's go over here. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was definitely preparation in that realm.
Yeah.
But we didn't go. I just want to, I guess, tell people that you don't have to go there and spend weeks on end hiking with boots on the ground with the technology like Onyx and like Go Hunt and all that stuff that's tools that you can use to actually pinpoint a spot without even having to be there.
Right. Well, in pre-go hunting onX and stuff like that, you had phone calls to biologists you could make.
Still a good idea.
Yeah.
Still a good idea.
We did that last year.
Yeah.
And it ended up in a really good tag and a really good, we filled the freezer with a really nice buck.
Yeah.
And all that was just networking. I made a lot of phone calls. Wasn't even my tag.
Game wardens are another great
Game
one.
wardens.
If you can get a hold of them.
That
they're
first
always
spot in
out there.
Wyoming is basically Steve called up the game warden in the area, told him how we like to hunt here locally and what we like to do, and then he said, "Well, you might try this road system. I've never been in there in September, but I think there's lots of bulls." And we took our mountain bikes and took our coast technique to Wyoming, and yeah, it was pretty awesome.
And the biggest thing that I would say about that, because people can get hung up on score, they can get hung up on, well, I want to kill a trophy. There is a trophy in every single unit. I don't care if everybody's saying, oh, it's just 4 points and 5 points, because there's the area that we went in. They said there's not really any big bulls, but all we saw were, into our eyes, were big giant bulls. I thought. I mean, big.
That was.
They were big.
He's like, there might be some 5, maybe a rag 6 in there. And
Really?
the first day in there with Chris, he missed a 340
Giants.
bull and then
Oh,
a
Jesus,
6x7.
giants.
It was just like, I took my funny thing, I took my recurve because I really wanted to kill a bull with my recurve.
And then you went back and you grabbed your compound?
Yeah, exactly. It was like, saw the bulls that were in there, and it was a little bit more open than hunting the Oregon coast. I'm like, I don't want to have a great big bull come in and not have an opportunity to shoot it. And I ended up shooting a bull 2 days later at 20 yards. Could have
worked.
Could have used the recurve.
Could
Yeah,
have worked.
But
We went through that this year. I've got some buddies that are getting into the trad stuff, and every bull that we shot this year, minus the one that I shot, was less than 30 yards.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you guys should have had your trads. Well, one of them did. His wife actually shot it. And it was her first bull, first call set up in Eastern Oregon, and first 45 minutes of the hunt, bull down. I was like,
That's awesome.
we've been hunting that spot for 4 years and hadn't killed one.
really,
Yeah. We should have, but it just, how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when you're kind of green like we are, not on the deer hunting side of things, but bow hunting elk, we hadn't had a lot of success yet. And finally, the girl in the group was able to break the ice for us. It was really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. But so go back to the bikes again. You guys kind of made that thing, I'd say, cool or popular, or the thing to do around here. I know that. A lot of guys are starting to get into the bikes.
and we definitely weren't like the originators of it or anything like that. I think we're one of the, like Angry Spike, I think they shared videos, but at that time there really wasn't the media out there to actually showcase that. And
Other than DVD, really.
right, yeah, exactly.
I mean-
So when we put that on DVD, we used them in the Reason, and then 30 days was a big focus, for us using those bikes and trailers, and yeah, I mean it was like
It was a game changer.
it made, especially so how we hunted here locally, we'd hunt every single night after work. So we get off work, like Trent was cutting trees at the time, Steve's plumbing, Trevor's doing the dental thing. 5 o'clock, they'd meet up, head on the coast. Ty and I are here in Roseburg. I get off at 4:30 when I was at North River Boats. Ty was working for OHA at the time, so he would be done. We'd be meeting up at 4:45, 5 o'clock. And you could hunt areas that you typically couldn't hunt in an evening with mountain bikes. And so, it'd take 45 minutes to go 2 or 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles in on a bike. And then, you could hunt all the way to dark. And then a lot of times, we're climbing up in, so it only take 5 minutes on the way out instead of that hour hike out. So, we'd hunt every single night. It really kind of changed the opportunities there. Same like the private timber companies. It was like our own little wilderness. Like a gate was a trailhead, and we could go 20 miles on a mountain bike on a weekend,
That's
and
right.
it was a game changer. And
Big time.
We got to hunt stuff that you never could reach on foot.
And for guys that aren't local, the unit that we're talking about here, I'm guessing it's the same unit. There's hundreds of miles of roads through there that you can't get to unless you do have a bike back then.
Correct.
Back then, yeah.
Back then. And
Now it's, yeah.
pay to play.
Now it is. There's a lot of, not all the country that we've hunted, but a lot of it is pay to play. You've got to get a permit for. It's not our land. It's private land.
Right.
So, I mean, let's just be honest. But yeah, so definitely before you just grab a bike, don't make sure you know where you're going. And
Right.
But yeah, like Cody said, it make it so much easier to do that, 3-4 miles a night. And then on a weekend, you could do a big circuit or something like that and map out some country that you want to go check out. So yeah, it was, you're, and that's another thing about the bike hunting too. I mean, even if you're pushing your bike, you're still getting somewhere, whereas you would have been walking anyway. But when you come back through there, you're not using any effort at all.
Right.
You're just, coasting. So it was a game changer for us, and I think it opened the doors for a lot of people afterwards to go try it.
Right. Well, it's like that video where you guys are working 365 days out of the year to make it happen, like all the working out, all the shooting. That was probably my favorite video. Just the grind and the passion that it took to stay that consistent. And not a lot of guys do that. I really appreciate work ethic. I really do.
Right.
And so that video really connected with me because I try and shoot my bow all the time, working out. I'm always researching. I'm always doing something to get me closer to that notch tag or that next ridge or whatever it may be. On point. So whatever it may be, it's just, I think that really raises the bar on what to expect from yourself and what you can really do.
Yeah.
I mean, and then also you're getting rewarded with probably unpressured bulls. I mean, you're
At times, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we never really had much experience of having people like blow up, set up or anything like.
Yeah.
We every once in a while you'd see other like a set of bicycle tracks. You're like, what the heck? What are they? And we actually made pretty good friends with a couple of the guys that are hunting that same area, and we just worked around each other. And yeah, I mean, it's like we've talked about this in the past. Like when we go in someplace and go hunt and we see somebody, it's like that's awesome. They're in there working their butt off, doing everything. It's not like we're mad that they ruined our spot or anything like that. I mean,
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. There's a ton of country to hunt, and
Well, you just touched on it. There's one. It's a double-edged sword, man. Because when we're out here promoting these things and we're doing that, I'm starting to see boot tracks where I never saw boot tracks.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
like
yeah.
8 miles in the wilderness over in Eastern Oregon, and there's a dead elk carcass, and I'm like, I got to hike out 3 hours now, or whatever it may be. Like, come on. And we ran into boot tracks where there should not have been boot tracks.
Right.
That just told me they didn't know the area like we were. We were like kind of exploring, and then like there's like no elk in here.
That can happen.
It does, yeah. The bow hikes.
The bow
the
hikes.
bow hikes. Well, and that's interesting. I mean, we were just someone asked us on this recording our podcast the other day. It's like, what do you guys look for e-scouting wise? And when you talk about that, like now we're trying to figure out avoiding trailheads, avoiding dead end roads, avoiding, looking at these areas. They're like, okay, it's an easy access point. Well, let's go to a harder access area. And then also that in between country is like between trails,
Because we used to do the 8 miles,
Yep.
clear back in. Now we found that there is a lot of opportunity in that 1 to 3 mile range,
Yes.
where you're going to get the road hunters in that 1 mile range, and then past 3 miles, you get those guys that I have to go this far in order to see an elk, And there's a lot of opportunity in there, big time.
Yeah, not to get too specific on where I'm going, but we we hunted over in Eastern Oregon last year, and we were literally the pack outs, maybe a quarter mile.
Perfect.
And it was like, why am I hiking in here?
Yeah,
8 miles when there's elk right here. And what they're doing is the elk's kind of like water. They're just getting pushed, and it's just taking the easiest, nicest area where there's feed and that can support them, and they're kind of getting pushed in this little drainage that is surrounded by roads, but no one's stopping to hunt it.
Right.
Like,
And that's a huge misconception, I think, now, as far as everybody, they're into this super elite, got to have the lightest gear, got to have, got to go in so deep. And I think that's could be furthest from the point now. I mean, there's elk everywhere. And
Yeah.
people ask us and email us, and what do you guys think? How far should I go? How deep? And go where you find elk,
Yes.
We literally last year in Colorado we hiked from the main highway, like parked on the highway, pavement, main
That's
drag.
what we did.
You know,
Yeah.
hear
Yeah.
trucks in the background,
Cattle guard.
semis.
Yeah. We
That's
had a
just-
cattle guard close to us, and you could just hear them rolling by. I'm like, keep going, buddy.
Yeah, no,
You know?
that's and look for those areas. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be the big trailhead.
Yeah. And in this area was quite frankly, it was a tip from a friend who quit hunting it years ago.
Right.
He just moved away, got a family, and here you go. You're blessed. I was like,
You're
thanks,
blessed.
man. I owe
I
you.
love it. I love it.
So you guys used to have DVDs. Are you going to come out with a DVD for Land of the Free, or what's the plan for the DVD game now?
A bunch of people have asked about that. And physically trying to make one.
Thinking about that.
Well, no, not so much. It's just, on a DVD, you only have so much room. And it would literally be like a 25 disc set and would cost so much money to put it on DVD.
Okay.
That I don't know if we could, it's like we would have to basically lose a bunch of the project, which kind of made the project what it was.
Because of the giveaways and all that stuff.
Well, not even that. Yeah, just some of the footage itself with outside of the uncut. I mean, it'd be so long.
Right.
That would be a long DVD.
Yeah, it'd be like 40 hours.
Yeah, we had 53 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Oh my gosh.
It was a lot.
My gosh. So for the Land of the Free 2.0, is that out of bounds, or can we talk about that?
No, nothing's out of bounds.
Yeah, no
Nothing's
secrets.
out of bounds.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's dive into it. So Land of the Free 2.0, what's that look like?
Hopefully me filling an elk tag. So just to start, we're going to do kind of the same format. We're going to hunt with a lot of the same people, but some different people also. So we'll start out here in Oregon again, and we're going to have Kenton from First Light here. We're going to have Hush here.
Here in Oregon.
Yeah,
Here in Oregon.
they love
Okay.
the Roosevelt scene.
Dude, well, I bet they do.
When it's 3 days,
Yeah.
pretty simple.
This is easy.
Yeah.
In the words of Casey, I think he's this is simple, guys. This is easy. So, and then possibly Ben O'Brien from Yeti
Oh, right on.
Coolers is going to come too. So that should be a fun deal. We hunt for about 8 days here. We jump to Colorado right after that, and we're going to have who we were in with Montana last year. We'll have Nick Schmidt and
Jason Phelps.
Jason Phelps from Phelps Game Calls, and also Dirk Durham.
Okay, yeah.
So that
they were
should
fun
be
to watch.
Yeah, that should be a fun
that
camp.
camp is going to be full of laughs because it'll be all four of us born and raised
Yeah.
in those three.
Phelps's mustache, man, could be an episode in itself.
Yeah,
right there.
we'll just sit there and
Jeez.
film it
It's so ugly.
on a windy
Get it in
day.
the wind and get a time lapse of it in the sunset.
Yeah, absolutely. So from there, we'll hunt there 10 days, and then we'll jump from there. I'm going to split up from the group, and I'll go to Wyoming, back to Wyoming again. So with the Go Hunt guys.
Oh, okay.
And Trail and Lorenzo, which should be, I've never hunted with them. It should be a whole new adventure altogether. And it's going to be a blast. And then Cody will go with the Hush and crew.
Yep, Trevor and I both.
And Trevor will go to Montana. And they'll hunt there for 10 days. And then we'll all finish that hunt and come back. And the last 10 days of season, we're going to be with Pure Elevation.
Okay.
And we'll go back to Idaho, I believe, is where we're headed.
Idaho in their ground. So we took them to Colorado last year, which they'd never hunted out of state for elk. And so then they were like, "Wow, we gotta do our backpack hunt in Idaho." And that's gonna be a barn
Should be
burner
good.
because that's gonna be physically a tough, demanding hunt, especially at the end of the whole.
Yeah, we're going to be wore out by that time.
How many days is that going to be again?
It'll be about 35 somewhere.
35
in there.
days of hunting, but we'll have about that 45 days of hunting because of how we split up there in those two groups.
That's
so
awesome.
we won't be gone as long this year. A little bit easier on the families and ourselves.
That's right. There's some conspiracy theories going on about 2.0.
What's that?
Trads.
Trads?
Some guys are thinking you guys are going to hit it with trads this year.
I think that's a conspiracy.
I think it's more of a want than
Oh, man. I have a tough time with a compound. I'd love shooting a trad bow, but I don't feel comfortable and confident enough with it yet.
really. But you have one and everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cody got me one from South.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, stalker
Also,
stick bow. It's so awesome. It's the most beautiful piece of work.
too pretty to shoot.
Oh, it is. You just sit there and look at it. It's awesome. So
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe there might be
Yeah,
some.
I think
don't know.
Kenton was kind of talking about bringing a stick bow out here to Oregon.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
may be a case. If Cal comes, I know he'll be having his stick bow.
It'd be fun.
I think that's about it. I mean, it's funny is like, I think Tyler's got a stick bow.
Oh, he does?
Steve's got
Everybody's
a stick.
getting into it.
Everyone's got one, and that like no one wants to take the leap. And then I hunted with one for a few years there, and then 2016 I hunted with it again, and just totally got my butt handed to
Really?
me. Yeah, yeah. Missed 2 bucks in Nevada, missed a bull here in Oregon, missed a bull in Idaho. I was like,
It was rough.
that one's gonna sit up on the wall for a little
Really?
bit till
It's
I
rough.
fill a tag. Yeah.
Yeah, I still like punching tags too much to hunt with a trad.
It's so fun though, just stump shooting and going around. It is fun.
That is really fun.
You say that, but you give me like the dirtiest look because I shoot
Absolutely.
about 50 arrows a day at stumps, and he's like, "Are you serious? You're
Most of our hunt days spent just shooting stumps.
just walking from shot to shot."
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I think here in the next couple of years I'm going to make that leap, but
All
I
right.
have a little bit more to achieve before I make that leap. We're going to go over. We have a really good tag we're going to get from mule deer this year, and I'm not really huge in the numbers, but before I start failing every year with trad, I want to get like a 150, 160 on the wall before I start like a really nice buck. I mean, I've got one with a rifle, mule deer. I've never killed one with my bow, but we're going to a unit where 160 is pretty common over there.
Sweet.
And what we have, I think one guy for sure bringing a trad, and he's like, "Oh yeah, spike, fork and horn. I'll take
Attaboy.
whatever I can
Right
get."
on.
You know, I was
He'll
like,
probably get
He likes to eat.
stock on a booner the first day.
"Oh my gosh, yeah." He'll probably be the one that kills the biggest one.
Hopefully.
Good, yeah,
That'd be
good
cool.
for him. But
That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna be shooting 60 whatever yards and hopefully putting some meat in the camp. But
There you go.
man, that's a tough game. But have you guys had any success with the trad?
I've killed 2 bulls and a buck with it.
Yeah. Cody's
Really?
done really,
Yeah.
really well. Yeah. Really good.
What kind of setup are you running with that?
So I'm running well, it's a stalker, 50 pounds at 30 inches, and I'm drawing 31, so it stacks like 53.
Really?
I think. I don't know. I've never shot it through chrono. I'm shooting about just shy 600 grain setup on it,
Okay,
with a cutthroat 150 grain single bevel 2-blade
Right on.
broadhead.
yeah.
Shooting brass up front on so it shoots good. I mean, yeah, I haven't shot it for about a year now, 18 months or
Oh,
so.
yeah, start busting that thing out.
Yeah,
Bring a stump into the office or something.
exactly.
There you go. There you go. We need a target in the office.
Oh, for sure. So what are you using for bows then, Trent?
As far as right now,
Yeah.
I shoot just a Hoyt. Actually, no, I don't shoot anything because I don't even own a bow right now. Actually, I gave mine away. So, we are getting the RX1.
Yep.
Is hopefully on its way, and it's going to be it's kind of a new thing actually. It's dipped in fusion. We're going to dip it in fusion, and then hopefully after that, people join on. So anybody listen to this, call up Hoyt or email Hoyt and say, "Wow, that fusion looks really good." And
When's
anyway,
that coming out?
my bow?
Yeah.
I have no idea. As soon as I get it, it should be here within the next month or so.
Okay.
And anyway, it's going to be a pretty rad looking bow, I think. So
I'll have to get a hold of him and like give me one.
yes, do it.
Or I'll pay for it, but send one my way. I'll give you the money. But
there
so you
you
guys are
go.
gonna have like the Cam Haynes bow, and then now you're gonna have like a bro bow coming out here, maybe.
I don't know. I
Got a little work to get there.
but yeah. I think that's hopefully down the road. That'd be really, really cool.
Oh
But
man. So a lot of guys want to know what's it take for arrow setup and a bow setup to take down an elk. What do you got?
man,
What's
there
your
is
setup?
so much. I don't know.
Shot placement.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
There's this whole, I don't want to call it a controversy, but there's this whole thing about speed versus weight versus
Yeah.
weight forward versus all this stuff. And I don't know. This last year, I had a bunch of weight forward. I was shooting 500 and some odd grains and in total arrow weight, and I still hit one. I don't know which episode what it was in the Land of the Free series there, but right in the shoulder blade, and it did nothing. It
Really?
yeah. I mean, it didn't penetrate at all. Bull went out there, bugled. We chased it for a long time and almost called it back in. But yeah, you just have to place that arrow in the right spot.
Yeah.
I did not, honestly. So, I mean, but at the same time, I don't know if people say they blow through both shoulder blades and all this stuff. And I haven't seen it personally. And I've shot, 80-pound bows before. And I don't know. You still have to put the arrow in the right spot. And another thing is broadheads. That's one of our most asked emailed
Yeah.
questions. Well,
I get
what
that
kind
a
of
lot.
broadheads do you use? Well, I hate to break it to everybody, but you still have to put the exact broadhead in the right spot. So we use all around the map. Cody used Kudu. I used what did I use? Something Exodus or something. I don't know. They're
You're,
all
not, you're
sharp.
not much of a gear guy.
Not a gear guy, dude. Not a gear guy at all. No. Put it in the end, pull it back.
Oh
and
man,
let her down
I am
range.
a gear nerd.
Yeah. You're gonna come out with a lot of these questions. Cody's gonna be answering here shortly because I just kind of gonna stumble.
Well, okay, I want to get that out here. You said you guys have shot a lot of elk. Can you put the number out there? Because it's always impressive when I've heard that number. What are you guys up to now? Group.
It was last year
on
before
film.
Last year before Land of the Free, I think it was 52, and then
Oh my
We
god.
did 14 on Land of the Free. So
Yeah,
with your dads, yeah.
yeah. So
and throat punch.
yep, my brother. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah.
So the kudu, that's a single bevel.
Yep, two-blade single bevel.
What grain are you running on that?
125.
120. That's what I was using for that blue, and I went through that blue like it was butter. I
Really?
mean, well, I shouldn't say that. The fletchings got caught on the exit side, and then he broke my arrow when he went down. So, I mean, but it took like a 80-degree churn once it went through both lungs. It was really unique. Like the back of the arrow hit a rib or something, and it just got both lungs and then came out right through the guts. But I got both lungs, so he only went like 80 yards. But I'm not sure what happened there, whether it was just a funky, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. It could have been deflection. I'm going to bump up my weight this year and try to get about 15% FOC because right now I'm about 10. And then I'm thinking that's going to help just go right through ribs. I'm not really sure.
How heavy arrow are you shooting?
I'm shooting a 447 grain arrow at 287.
Okay.
You are a gear guy. Goodness gracious. So many numbers. So many numbers.
Oh, man. I mean, when you have a channel based around gear, you end up
get in deep.
Yeah, oh gosh, way too deep most of the time. I was joking around with somebody. He's like, I never had third axis problems until I bought a third axis adjustment sight. Like
There you go.
Sometimes it's just better to keep it simple.
Right, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
But so you're using the kudu for your compound?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep,
Are you going to
shooting.
use them again this year?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I like a two-blade single bevel, and it seems to be one of the better ones out there. I've had two issues with them, just playing around with testing, hitting hard stuff, and having some blade issues. So I've looked at the Strickland as well, which looks really similar, as far as that goes. The thing I like about the Strickland is the blade thickness is thicker than what the kudu is because it's an aluminum ferrule than a stainless ferrule like the kudu. So I know Crockett, he shot those Stricklands, and I liked the looks of those a little bit. But
Have you seen the Anarchies? They're also made out of Oregon.
I have, yeah. I don't like that super short. I like the blade length of a cutting. Where for me,
It's flat on top too.
yeah, and like
It's unique.
where I don't know. When I started, my dad had me shoot Delta Rothar snuffers. They're a 3-blade cut on contact, and it's like the traditional 3 inches long, 1 inch,
yep.
cutting diameter. And so, like, I've always stuck with that long blade, longer cutting. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know.
Right.
But
Well, it's funny that you guys say it's all about shot placement because I'm probably going to get blasted for this, but I'm going to come out and say it anyways because it's what happened. It's the truth. That girl I was talking about, shout out to Shelby, she was using a 360 or 80 grain arrow for elk.
50 pounds, probably
shooting 50 pounds, and that thing went 30 yards, but she pinwheeled it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like a lot of guys, oh my God, that's so irresponsible. Not. First of all, she's a ringer. She outshoots a lot of the guys at the shoots, and her max distance I think was 30 yards, and she got like 18 inches worth of penetration, and that's all it needed. And granted, I've never gone with anything. The lightest arrow I've ever hunted with was 420, and with that 447 grain arrow, I got a pass through on the bowl this year at 50 yards. I mean, you don't have to have a 700 grain arrow shooting 295 feet per second. I think a lot of guys are getting overkill, and I kind of want to dispel that trend because right now it's like, man, you got to shoot a Lincoln log going down there with 30% FOC, and that's just not true.
it's all about a balance setup, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm going to come out with a video here soon, I think. Actually, I'm going to do it. I just made my mind right now just talking about it, about low poundage light arrow setups for hunting, because there's a lot of kids and women out there that I don't think are being allowed to go hunting from whoever, the husband or the dad or the boyfriend, because they don't think they have enough energy to get it done. But if you use a single bevel broadhead or you use a Stinger Magnus buzz cut or something like that, you're going to get the 40% better penetration with less poundage. And I mean, it's been proven. I mean, well, minus the iron will, he's kind of got a new design, and that's a really cool design. One of those premium broadheads. Have you guys seen those yet?
No.
The iron wills. Joe Rogan's shooting them and all that stuff. So he's kind of making them cool. And Aaron Snyder, I think, he uses them. But a lot of times it's that 3-in-1. And he says there's a little bit different design that'll actually get a better penetration than that.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
he's kind of getting away from that. But it's just really interesting. Like, if you use the right setup, you're smart about it, you keep the distance short, a kid can go out and kill an elk. I mean, you got that famous video of that kid throat punching that bull. You guys seen that one?
Yeah.
Oh,
One that just,
Everybody's seen that video. And I guarantee you he wasn't shooting 80 pounds.
No.
So.
And it was a frontal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's 2 big dispels right there. So
No one's going to listen to your podcast.
oh my gosh, I'm losing subscribers
They're
as I
listening as we
speak.
speak. No, if I have a frontal shot any time of the week and under 25 yards, I'm shooting that every single day.
Right.
Every day.
Well, a lot of guys.
It's amazing.
My thing with it is a lot of guys are like, well, it's a small kill zone. Well, yeah, but you have a big area on a side shot, a broadside shot that's going to wound and lose the animal. And if you mess up with a full, a frontal shot, that animal has a really good chance of living because you're either going to go right outside the cavity. You're not going to get in the sweet zone there.
Yep.
You go in that soft spot between the shoulder and the cavity there. And I'd rather mess up and have it live than mess up and gut shoot it or do something stupid. So,
Yeah, I would agree.
There's a lot to the frontal shots, and it's all personal preference and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't probably take one past 30 yards, but I mean, I shoot a lot. I don't know how far you guys would take them, but
For us, it's always been that 25 and in. It seems like
25 and in. Yeah, so we're really similar there.
And a lot of that is
that
if he's
aspect.
over 30 yards and he's still actually facing you and coming your way, there's a good chance you're going to get a closer shot or a broadside shot or whatever. So,
That's a
I mean,
good
it's
point.
not like it's game over, usually, if
Yeah.
they're facing towards you anyway at that longer range. So we're going to let them try to come closer. And then if you can really, beat in on them at 25 yards and they stop and you have a good shot, we're going to take it.
And we like it actually kind of a quartered
quarter,
on.
quartered on.
Yeah,
really.
slightly quartered.
What's the
Absolutely.
reason for that?
Brisket, all that.
Yeah,
whole
because
bone.
that too, dead on, you can chance a one lung them. I mean, you definitely with that quartered, you're gonna catch the front of one, the back of another lung. I mean, a lot of times, so
So you're gonna hug that closest shoulder
Yeah,
more
that
than
pocket.
you regularly would.
just in
Yes.
front of the shoulder.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
we did a
there's-
video about it in Land of the Free, I think.
Yeah,
when-
it'd be on episode 19 with your bull when we break it down with
Yeah.
Corey.
Yes. It's good stuff. Corey goes through it, and it's some good solid stuff that he talks about.
One of the bulls that you guys shot last year, talking about that kind of thing, is was it Dirk's bull, who was walking? How far
Donnie's.
was it? Donnie's bull,
Donnie's
and it
bull,
was
yeah.
what 30,
35 yards.
35 yards, and he shot it walking, which I practice those shots all the time.
Right.
So I'm not. What I'm curious about is how'd that bull go down?
He hit that
What did he
the
hit?
main femoral underneath the backstrap.
Oh, really? Oh man, that's awesome. I mean, I was looking at that. I'm like, I gasped when it happened when I watched it for the first time. I was like, oh no, and then it went down, and I was like, it was like I was there, man. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
That was a crazy hunt, but yeah, and I mean he'll say the same thing. He got riled up as far as he didn't put a call in his mouth before, and he just got we all get riled up
Right.
in our own way, and Donnie's one of the greatest guys I've ever met. He's just so humble, and he didn't deserve. I mean, if there's anybody in this world that deserved it more, I
Right.
don't know who it would be because he was just. I mean, he was so elated about that, and he did. He didn't stop the bull, so he was his arrow. I mean, his pin was probably right on the vitals, but an
Right.
elk can take a long stride and an arrow to go 30 yards.
Right.
A long stride,
Yep.
and that's what happened.
The same thing happened with BMAC in Oregon.
Yeah.
On episode 4, it was walking stride and thought. And that was a confusing one because we didn't have blood on the entrance side.
Really?
Yeah,
It was weird.
yeah, because we just had blood on the exit side, and we're like, man, did he hit it up front? Like we just couldn't figure out where he hit it.
And because the camera, it was through the trees, and you could see the arrow go, but you kind of lost. You couldn't see it impact really.
Right.
And what happened there? It went in gut because it was quartered away, and he went in gut, and that gut stuck out and plugged up that entrance hole.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I had a shot like that last year. I don't know what happened. It was a really, really nice 4-point blacktail. And opening day, I knew he was there. He was the reason I was there. And I had him at 72, downhill 70. And basically, I was taking my time, had my camera, but I was like, I'm going to get this, not willing to lose one like I was preaching about earlier. And anyways, I take the shot. I look down, knock my arrow, look back up, and I think he kind of like went like this, was like starting to churn, and then I didn't notice it, so I drew and I anchored, not great light, and I ended up hitting him where I thought was a perfect shot, but it ended up going in the hip and then coming out in the guts, and he went like 80 yards, and I was able to sneak up on him and put another one in him. But long story short, I shoot a lot. A lot of guys are like, well, you're a good shot. Anybody can be a good shot on YouTube. I'm just going to throw that out there.
you can edit what you want.
You can edit what you want. A lot of my stuff, I'll tell you right now, 99% of it, it's 1 or 2 takes and I'm done. I'm not out there all day trying to film stuff. So
Right.
I'm more than happy because I know that a lot of guys want to go shooting with me. Like, that sounds kind of conceited. A lot of guys want to see if I'm legit at a shoot.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm fine. I don't want to be the guy that can't back it up. So I don't put anything out there that I can't.
That's good.
But what I'm saying is that bad shots can happen to anybody. And it's easy to be an armchair quarterback. Oh, you shouldn't have took that shot. When you're watching a YouTube video, or you're watching, was it Donnie's bull?
Yeah.
Anybody can make a bad shot,
Right,
man. And I'm
right.
sure that guy's killed more elk than most people I know or you guys know. I mean, it is what it is, and unfortunately, it's part of hunting. But also, what really matters is what you do after the shot, and that leads me into the bull that you guys went up and over the hill.
Oh, that was mine.
Is it? Well, there was no. Yeah, it was your bull.
Yeah, that was
we had 2 this year.
Yeah, the Roosevelt.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you had that happen to your bull.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
It went 1.2 miles
I think so.
With your bull?
Straight uphill.
straight up. I don't know how many hundreds feet, 1,000 feet. I don't know.
Yeah, I think 1,000-foot
There was a
elevation
really
gain.
hard lesson learned on that one. And wasn't it where the blood was in the back of the lung so it could still breathe on the front part of the lung?
Every time it went downhill, it did bleed good, but
Yeah.
it never went downhill he went straight up. I mean, from where I shot him, he crossed this little ravine and went straight up forever.
And it turned into drop. I mean, it was one of those things. Usually in a frontal, it's like they're dead within 100 yards eyesight a lot of times.
that was a frontal.
that
it
was a frontal, yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is that bull, right as he shot, kind of shifted left, and so it stayed outside the cavity. That arrow
really?
did not. Yeah.
It was just right outside. It cut the. Yeah, it just kept bleeding.
Yeah, it was
just
through the
kept
neck
cutting.
and then into that shoulder pocket, and that I think that front artery nicked that front artery.
Right on.
And it was one. I mean, it's like when we dropped up over the rise after we we're like, okay, he's got to be right here because you could see if 100 it was in a burn and you could see.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh no.
That feeling in your stomach just goes, oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
When it's just like a done deal. When you shoot one, it's oh man, the roller coaster, right?
So what do you think happened on that thing as far as it be like? Because everybody always says, "Oh, they won't go uphill if they're wounded." I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
I've
is
seen
not
that.
true. No, we've seen everything that
That
disproves every single
Go straight to water.
tracking.
And all,
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
they'll go wherever they're going to go. I mean, and this one, Trent's bull went to a spot that he wanted to be. He wanted to go in the north face and bed down up there because
It's
it was
probably
all
his wheelhouse or
yeah,
something.
exactly. No, 100%.
It's all timber.
And
And he did. He went straight there. It was amazing. I'll bet between me shooting him and him dying, I bet wasn't a half an hour.
Really?
No,
He
he
just
went
hauled
straight
butt
there,
over there.
and when he died, it's not like he laid down and died. He just fell over dead. Boom.
Really?
Done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
probably
tracking
only-
that, I mean, that's a good thing for people to hear too. Tracking that was not easy. I mean, it was hands and knees, drop. I mean, and then 30 yards, one drip.
we'd get on some tracks and just follow some tracks. And the crazy thing, like he went through a couple like rock outcroppings where it was like cliffed out here. And I mean, he jumped off a little ledge here and then,
and
he
then there
just,
would be blood.
Yep.
You'd see a splatter of blood. And
so you
it'd be
Really?
get,
like, okay.
yeah.
So your heart would be like, oh, he's bleeding good now. And then, 15 yards later, drip, drip, and it's like,
Arrow's
man.
still in him. So
Yeah, the arrow was still in him when he died and came over the rise, and there he was.
Right.
there. So
What was the deal with the Roosevelt? Because that's the one I was.
So
remembering.
yeah, so that was the same walking shot. Went in gut cavity, came out behind the shoulder somewhat.
Liver.
I mean, liver.
it was a liver
yeah.
shot.
Okay.
My,
Yeah.
there was one spot where it looked like he coughed up blood, or he might have nicked a back of a lung. Yeah, because it definitely through diaphragm and all that.
There was
scenario.
so much blood to begin with. It was crazy. I've never
Yeah,
seen
it's
that.
crazy.
There's blood everywhere.
And we were in that bottomland skunk cabbage,
Yeah.
so it's like that serene green and everything sticking. You know, I mean, it was really good tracking. It's like, all right, you know, this blood trail, like he's not.
Oh,
100
we're all
yards.
just jacked. We know where he's going to
Yeah.
be.
And you know, he followed along. He kind of went up the hill one time and then turned around and came right back down. I was like, all right, he didn't feel good there. Okay, we're gonna find him. We're gonna find him. And the next thing you know, he turns and goes up. And we gave him an hour. And you know, it's like, all right, we saw the blood, looked at good. Okay, let's chill for an hour. We felt really good about that decision.
Arrow, no arrow.
No arrow.
No arrow.
Yep. Later on, found the arrow on the blood trail.
How far down?
150, 200 yards.
Yeah,
We
probably
had
something
happen
like that.
one year. Okay.
Something
Yeah,
like
so
that, just
it's-
soaked in blood. Like
so
the arrow
yeah,
was
it
just,
was.
like hanging out and just blood.
It
was just
it was
coagulating.
stabbed
Okay.
in the ground.
Yeah.
And so like how I don't know how he turned and went into he was kind of coming up the hill.
Kind of flung it out of him.
Some-
Yeah, it's stuck in the ground right there. And like I said, it was just covered in blood. Didn't smell any guts. Couldn't see any guts on it. It's like, all right, well, maybe it's forward, you know, maybe, you know, we still didn't know. But the weird thing is there was still no blood out the left-hand side. And so that was a little bit of the confusing. It's like if it was up forward, I would have thought we would have had some blood.
And now you guys are going off of you're not finding blood drip on it separate.
Correct. Yeah, you
yeah.
can see his tracks, and you can tell left, right, you know,
Right.
for sure.
Okay.
And the impact was left side, and there was zero blood on that. So we got up there and got into this old 20-year-old reprod. It's just a bed of fir needles, hard to track, you know, unless they're like moving hard, and lost blood. Found a bed where we thought he was kind of bedded.
thought.
And hindsight, my guess that bull was bedded there and heard us on the blood trail and got up and moved.
Yes, guaranteed.
Yep. And so, you know, it's one of those things. Is an hour appropriate if you don't know it's double lung? You know, I mean, it was. We definitely bumped the bull off that bed, and then he went up the hill, and we lost blood. So we
Like lost. Like had every single person fanned out, turned the cameras. I mean, I didn't turn them off, but it wasn't like we're all in one spot going somewhere. And then we started gridding.
Yep.
So we gridded all the way back, and nothing. I mean, nothing.
Gave it like 3 or 4 hours in there looking like that. Went back, hiked all the way back up to the truck to watch the video on the computer to see, you know, and analyze
Hopefully
a
give
little
us
bit.
any
Yeah,
clues.
exactly. Couldn't really quite tell. You could see arrow elk. Okay, it looks good. Looks behind the shoulder. He's dead. Let's go back in there. And somehow Trevor just bird dogged it up the hill and found a spot in the worst stuff. And
Yeah.
it was hands and knees on this trail and going, and it literally
Then every once in a while, you'd see a little smear, like on a bush.
How far did he find this blood from the last blood?
Oh man.
75 yards, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
And in stuff like that, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
it's-
I guarantee there was other spots in that period,
Yeah.
but you just couldn't see it. Once it was in that needle and it was all dried needles,
Yeah.
really tough. It's all
They can
dark.
get turned upside down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I just got up, and then it was one of those crazy deals. Got up, went through a bunch of slash reprod, and then hit this old gravel road, turned and went down, and it was like, oh, maybe he's okay. You know, I mean, it was like,
different.
you know, well, he's back walking, no blood on that road. We found one little spot, and then turned off that road again on another cat road, and he was there dead.
Fell over dead.
It's like,
Kind of like your bull.
Yeah, it was nuts.
That's insane.
yeah.
It was nuts.
Same deal. I mean, it climbed 500-foot elevation and went, I don't know what the final distance was,
Really?
1,000,
Long
1,200
ways.
yards, 1,300 yards from
Really? So it broke the rules. It went uphill.
100%.
They're tough. Through the thickest stuff that we couldn't even crawl through it. Something you had to take off your pack so you could crawl down
Yeah.
through it. I mean, and a huge elk went right through it.
Yeah.
It was just nuts. So
That's
tough, man.
It is tough. And
They're
it seems
tough.
like every time I think I start getting it figured out, they prove me wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like I had that bull I lost last year, unfortunately, is by far my biggest bull. Would have been my first bull with a bow. And long story short, I had his cows come out at 30 yards, and I had a buddy kept keeping them bugling. And I drew back because I heard him bugling coming up, And I drew back. I'm like, I already know where you're coming out, buddy. Like, game over. And I waited for like 20 seconds. Then he comes out 30 yards past where it was. I'm like, you're supposed to be following your cows, dude. Come on. Like, play by the rules.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it's always a learning experience every single time you get out in the woods. I mean, did you guys learn anything this year that you didn't know, or any new lessons or anything like that?
On top, I mean, everything you think that is the written, the Bible of tracking. Yeah, no, you can just pretty much, yeah. I mean, I think they're good guidelines. Don't get me wrong. I think, it's great to just have that knowledge in your bank, but don't ever say, well, that's never going to happen, because it can.
Right.
And then just
Very
hunting. I mean, with us, we've always just hunted in our own little group. So it was, a different dynamic with hunting with all these other groups collaborating. And so there was different styles. I mean, Hush is all about spot and stalk, because that's, in the open Idaho
They're
terrain.
good at it too.
And the bull that we killed in Oregon, Casey spotted him where it was like, there's always elk there, but people hunt it. You can see it. I don't want to go back there. And we went in there, found a bull, and went in, and snuck in and called it in. But so that tactic was totally different. We're normally like, we don't use binoculars that much elk hunting.
A lot of times we don't even pack them.
Really?
A lot of times, no.
Yeah, it's just we're all about the vocal elk. In Wyoming with Elk 101 guys, I mean, with Dirk and Corey and Donnie, like, they're calling. We felt pretty proficient in calling, and then it's like, whoa.
They're
You
pretty
get a guy
darn
that
good.
does it for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are good. They are good. And we have a lot of the same hunting styles as them, just really, really aggressive. Everything's all around the bugle, as far as that goes. There's no spotting and stalking or nothing like that. It's getting them going on the bugle.
It's hard to beat a bugle, man.
Very hard to beat.
And then,
Even if there's no reason to get a bugle, it's like, I want to hear that.
Yes.
And we had a couple cases where we were busted, and Dirk's like, no, we can get on him. Let's do it.
Really?
And he'll bark, run right at him.
That was interesting.
Yeah, the bark chuckle, and just got the bull fired back up, and like, oh, maybe that wasn't what I thought it was. As long as you don't get winded, I mean. Is
that going to be another tool you guys put in your belt this year, the barking?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Everything that we learned last year is going to be definitely, repeated this year. But those guys are just, their setup, the way they set up for elk, the way they're just really, really, really good at it.
Yeah.
Corey's analyzation of the situation. I mean, the case in point when Trent was calling for Corey on his first day as shooter.
When you asked up that 6-point?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, he was like, yep, he's going to come out this ridge. He'll come down right here.
Really?
Yeah, we were set up over on the left where he originally walked to. He's like, nope, I'm going to move over here. And he set up in a spot that honestly, I wouldn't have done it.
No.
It was kneeling by a stump, kind of out from some cover. And, he nailed it. He literally, the bull came exactly, Trent was set up calling. Bull came to where he was.
Right.
Turned. He could have killed him half a dozen times.
Right.
But I think a lot of it, what I learned from them, honestly, is their confidence. Honestly, their confidence is like, we're going to go out and we do the same thing. We're going to go out and we're going to kill elk. We're gonna see elk. We're gonna and if you're always that person that's just like, well, it never happens for me. Oh, every time I bugle, they run away. Well, don't think that doesn't happen to us. We've had a lot of times where like, what the heck did I say wrong? Because they're just a big dust cloud headed over the ridge.
I get that question a lot.
Yeah.
Is the bugling and stuff. It's like, I'm probably not the right person to ask. My record, I think my record doesn't reflect my experience or what I've learned, because right now it's 0. But for helping people kill stuff, it's really good.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But so I wanted to get that question answered. Is like, for example, it was happened to us last year, and I'll tell you what I did, and you guys can tell me if I did what I did wrong. But a lot of guys are saying, I can get that bull to bugle, and then I'll bugle back, and then I'll work in on him. And then he's still that 150, 200 yards away, and I can't get that 250 closed, or I can't get that 150 closed. Like, he just keeps bumping away, and then eventually he shuts up. Well, I got tired of that last year, so I left my pack. I took a rangefinder, a roll of ribbon. I brought my running shoes, and I brought my bow and my bugle. And I'm like, I'm going to bum rush these things. If they're just going to run off away from me, I'm just going to bum rush them.
Sure.
What time of day was this?
All between daylight and 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock to dark, 5 o'clock to dark. And so the first time I tried this was in the evening, and we went out, and then right away bugle. I was like, perfect. And then I told the guy, he's like, it was my uncle, and he's like, I can't bugle very good. I'm like, just say something. Didn't really say anything. The bull's hot. Just all you have to do is, I mean, I got a bull playing Smoke on the Water last year to bugle while we had one down. I was trying to get Anthony. And I was playing Smoke on the Water through my bugle trying to get his attention, and then a 6-point bull rips off behind me. So you don't have to sound good. You don't have to be Corey Jacobson level. But I think you have to know kind of when to say it and what to say.
Bingo.
Emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I get really pissed off and I put that in my bugle, I get way better responses. Like if I pretend that I'm a really mad bull, or if I really put my emotion into it, I don't blow from the mouth, I blow from the stomach. Mm-hmm. I notice I get a lot better thing. But back to the outside the rabbit hole there. So I put on my running shoes. I left all things heavy in the truck. I had a guy who literally I was showing how to bugle in the truck on the way there. And I'm like, just keep him bugling. That's all you got to do. Just make a sound. When he bugles, just bugle back. And I'm going to bum rush this bull. And so it worked a little too well. It was I thought he was farther than he was. And I run about 100 yards. He bugles. I'm like, oh, he's still 150 yards away. And so I run like another 60 yards, and he busts like at 60 yards away with a cow. And it's like a 310 6 point. I'm like, oh, my God. Like, that's the biggest bull I've seen all trip. And I'm like, well, it worked. So I ran back up. I'm like, I just screwed the pooch on that one, guys. Like, I just literally ran within bow range of this bull. And then so we go down the road another quarter mile. I rip off another bugle. And then another one rips off. I'm like, sweet. And then same thing. I'm like, I'm going to go a little bit slower this time. And I ended up getting in on that bull with his cows, and it worked out great. But that was me not knowing how to overcome it. But I was going to try something to adapt to the situation.
Absolutely.
And the hunters that I really look up to, they're getting dealt the same hands.
Yes.
But they're making things happen. They're making their own opportunities.
Yes, that's well said. Actually, that is well, and that's the same thing that we do as far as looked up to. Also, as far as how are these guys killing them every single year? Mm-hmm.
In the same areas I'm hunting.
We're hunting the same elk.
Yep.
And I would say a lot of like what you said you did. That's awesome. But we do a lot of the same thing just like that.
Really?
But except we'll leave our packs on. So we usually hunt with our packs on just in case you're on a bull and you're spending the night.
Okay.
You're gonna live right where that bull ends up probably that night. But
okay.
So we'll get on a bull in the morning, and there's a lot of times, especially in Colorado this last year, is you will chase that bull, and he will bugle just to see where you are, and you'll bugle back. Or vice versa, you'll try to get him to sound off.
It's not
he
like
has somewhere you want to go.
Yeah, he's not pushing his cows away from you or running from you most of the time. He's heading to somewhere he wants to be to bed. Yeah. That's why I asked that time question.
Okay.
Between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., 3 p.m., those elk, it's a different scenario. They're bedded. They're not going to be moving. And we always talk about that midday madness. We prefer to hunt that 11 to 2.
Really?
Yeah, because all the cows are comfortable. He's comfortable knowing where everyone's at. When they're out feeding and moving around, he's more susceptible for a bull coming in and being able to steal some cows.
Really?
Yeah. So, time's critical and what their actions are doing, how they're reacting.
So your kill ratio morning to evening to middle of the day?
I would say between 10 and 2, I would say 80% of our bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Man, a lot of times we're eating SpaghettiOs in 10 and 2.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. We're
really?
Like, that's exactly the time. And slow play it, too. Don't just push, because he's going to go somewhere. That's what elk do. They go feed out, during the night. Mm-hmm. And then in the morning, they head somewhere, safety, to go to bed. Mm-hmm. Nice and cool, damp, usually spot. And that's where we want to get them because, like Cody was saying, you're dealing with one set of eyes. You're dealing with one set of ears, and instead of the whole herd up and aware and looking, all of those girls are bedded down, and he can go, okay, I know where they're going to be. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go fight this guy off, and I'll be right back, or whatever the scenario may be.
And typically, like in Rocky Mountain, especially, I wouldn't say this is Roosevelt typically, but if you're on big mountain stuff, those elk. They in the afternoon, midday they climb the mountain, or in the morning they're climbing the mountain. They're using that wind advantage as that cold air is coming down, getting sucked down. They bed up on a face or on a bench, And then in the evening, they're going to start dropping back down, and they'll
Okay.
feed down in the evening, and they'll be down in the lower, through the night. And then, they use those thermals to their advantage in how
Right.
they feed and the direction that they travel. So that's the hard part. A lot of times in the morning, if you're above them, you're going to get winded. Below them, trying to keep up with them. It's not like, like where we hunt in Colorado, you're a lot of that 10,000 foot, and it's steep, and you're trying your best to keep that, vocal point.
Still
of knowing
hear them.
You can still hear them.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll lose them, and you just like hope for the best. Okay, they're going to be up in this pocket maybe, and then.
So when you say losing them, are they shutting up, or are they just getting out of distance?
just out of air side.
Because it seems like a lot of times these bulls are shutting up on us.
You
But
just-
maybe they're getting out of distance and we're just not keeping up with them.
And so that's where we
Possibility.
try different things. So a lot of times with every different bull, every bull is different. Sorry, but a lot of times a bull will like slam to a chuckle. They won't touch a bugle. They won't say anything. And then if you just chuckle, then they'll bugle back to it. They have certain things that each bull is different that they don't like hearing or do like hearing at the same time that they'll call off to. So I would try all different kinds of bugles, high pitch, low pitch,
Really?
longer bugles. Yeah. And then finally, sometimes we'll sit in a place and bugle and bugle and bugle and bugle and bugle. Finally, he cracks off and gives
Really?
away his location, and then off the races, we got him again. And it's just like, and everybody, like it was fun hunting with Pure Elevation last year. It's just they're like, what are you guys jacked about? That was one bugle, and I said, well, it just gave away his location. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
We
get
know where
closer.
that elk's
It's
at.
more than we
We
had a
know where he's
second
at.
ago.
Absolutely, yeah. and just like Tyler, when we hunted with Tyler Crockett, who we were just talking about. Anyway, we had a bull going all morning, and we followed that bull forever, it seemed like, and we could barely hear him faintly at one point, and then he's that direction. We keep going and going and going till we finally he got where he wanted to go, and then he got mad that we were following him that far and came back for a 7-yard shot. Yeah, we didn't end up killing the bull, but at the same time, it was one of those things where a lot of people, I think, they go, he's working on, he's not going to come in. He's not going to come in.
Quote unquote shut up. Well, he broke over the top of the ridge.
couldn't hear.
To where we
And it
couldn't.
wasn't until we broke that same ridge that it was like, no, okay, I had enough of you following me. And the same thing like with Trent's bull that he killed. We were on that bull just shortly after daylight, had him across the canyon. Literally, he like ran down to where he couldn't, like it bluffed out across this creek, wouldn't cross. We played this standoff. We finally broke the creek. He came back down the hill
Really?
after us. He skirted us, couldn't get a shot. Almost Trent got a shot at 60 yards. Saw him draw, blew out. It was like people would have gave up right then. We let him go up on the ridge. We slipped around, got at the same elevation on that ridge line. As soon as we did, literally, it was like lights out again.
He changed his whole demeanor.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once
It's like-
we got to that elevation mark, where it was like, all right, I'm now threatened by this, and he came in running after he got busted. Like,
Really?
yeah.
Like you're in his front yard, now you're in his bedroom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, exactly. Yeah, and every bull has that threshold that you just try and push, and you try to find that on every single different animal, and then once you do, it's go time.
Any difference between, because you guys have a really cool perspective on elk hunting, probably the most unique out there for as far as hunting Rockies and Rosies. What's the difference there?
I'd rather call a Roosevelt bull any day of the week.
Really?
Any day.
Why is
Super
that?
territorial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one do you like hunting better, Rosies?
Man, I don't know. They're still elk. I don't know. I like both.
The
I
terrain
guess.
dictates the hunt. And so I know for me personally, I like the adventure of being able to go on a backpack hunt and hunt new
Yeah.
wilderness
Yep.
country or anything like that. I love hunting Roosevelts probably more than anything, but it's changed so much of the dynamic of timberlands and access and how we hunt them that it's not as fun as it used to be.
I can, definitely see that.
Yeah, but it's just they're such a neat animal. Whereas, what we've done now, with born and raised and stuff, and the time that we've put into it, you go to Rockies and you can get a bull to bugle, not anywhere, but you know what I mean. If you get in, you'll hear a bugle. Usually, Roosevelt. Sometimes you go a week and you don't hear one bugle, but when you do hear that one bugle, you've got a pretty darn good chance of killing it.
Both those bulls that the Hush killed, Casey's never made a sound.
Nope.
Just literally sticks breaking.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the bull BMAC killed, we heard a stick break on a bugle, and we set up on it and got aggressive, raking.
And it chuckled one time.
Yep.
Really?
That's it. It chuckled.
It raked and then
That
came
was
in.
it.
Which is the bull that Trevor had to put another one in? at a long distance?
Steve's bull.
That was a heck of a shot.
Yeah.
How far was that?
82?
3, something like that.
83?
Yeah,
Holy
something
smokes.
like that.
Is he Chris Kyle with a bow?
Yeah, he's good. Trevor's a good shot.
Yeah.
Trevor's a darn good shot. Shot it right through the heart. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, Steve shot it and the bulls just stood out there, and Steve, where he was at lower, he couldn't, because the blackberries couldn't get a shot. He was kind of moving around, and Trevor got up above, and he's got a Tommy Hog spot hog slider.
Oh, yep.
Ranged it, slid it too. Boom, and
You guys all shoot spot hog?
Yeah.
Yep.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fast Eddie XL.
Bass Eddy XL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3-pin.
Okay.
I mean, those slider sights are game changing for me, and the multi-pin sliders are amazing.
Yeah.
But we haven't really had a chance to talk about Steve and Trevor at all.
Yeah.
What is going on with them, and are they joining you for Land of the Free 2.0?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They'll be in and out of the project the whole time. They'll be in Oregon, then they go to Colorado with us, and then Steve's going to join me in Wyoming just for a little while, I believe.
Yep.
And then he has to come back home. Trevor's going to join Montana.
Yeah, he'll be in Montana the whole time.
They'll be in a lot of that. They'll be in a bunch of it this year.
Awesome,
A bunch of
awesome.
it.
I actually got a few questions about Steve. Is like a lot of guys were wanting to know, is he going to be a part of it this year? I don't think people got to see him enough.
Oh yeah.
In Land of the Free, the first one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He'll
Yeah.
definitely.
He's a cool guy, man.
great dude.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's work, and like his daughter Chelsea is like athlete galore.
Seriously?
Oh, she's a stud. Yeah.
Amazing.
And so she's a sophomore in high school. So in the fall she plays volleyball. So he'll that's the one thing, he committed to her to make home matches. So that's why he's
Really?
yeah. So
That's cool.
that part of it why he's going to cut short in Wyoming, and then he's a plumber, so by trade, so time off.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
thought he was a guide or something. Man. He hunts in like Sitka, Alaska and stuff, for Sitka blacktails.
Just
and
for fun.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
darn. Yeah, I
He's
thought he was
got
just
points.
a traveling guide.
He's
No.
got points everywhere. No,
Does
he's
he?
Yeah.
he's a full-time plumber. He's the best in the whole county. He's like, he teaches class on plumbing and stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Steve. Where's he from?
Coos Bay.
Coos Bay. So if you're in Coos
Yeah.
Bay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coos
So-
Bay and your toilet breaks, call Steve.
there you go. And if you need your teeth worked on, Trevor.
Trevor.
Exactly. The
Yep.
dentist. And people are like, he's a dentist?
Yeah. Yeah.
So talking about that leads me. Watch this segue. Family hunting with family.
Nice. Way to
Boom.
jump right in.
Holy smokes, that was almost professional. There.
Yeah, sounded good.
We're kind of smooth getting the grease rolled off here. So hunting with the family. How do you guys pull off 50 days of hunting with the family, and what's that even look like? And
No,
you
it
had a
was-
new kid. You had a
Cody had a brand
Yeah,
new one.
he's sleeping.
he's sleeping right over here. You
Sleeping.
probably heard him make a few sounds in the background throughout the podcast, but he's been extremely well.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it was
Throughout the whole
good,
podcast.
good timing on getting him to go down for his perfect morning nap. Yeah, I mean, I'll start off. I mean, it was tough when we started Land of the Free. I mean, the idea had been in the works for quite a while, and then it formulated and stuck first part of January. And knowing my wife was due on mid-July, it was like, how's this going to work and play out?
Huh.
And so when we started, he was 6 weeks old when I left filming, and I was gone for like 25, 28 days and came home for a period of time because I wasn't gone the whole period. Trent's the one that was the anchor the whole way through.
That's right.
I don't know about an anchor, but
Yeah, but my wife, Andrea, I mean, bless her heart, she had our 2.5-year-old daughter, 2-year-old daughter at the time, at home with her with a newborn, and she was a rock star, solid all the way through it. So without her support and blessing of this, it wouldn't have happened for me.
Right.
And luckily, we married twins that have similar mindsets and being able to be supportive. So
That
Yeah.
almost sounds planned out.
yeah, we planned it from birth.
right.
An arranged marriage in,
Yeah,
in Coos
yeah.
Bay and Coquille.
No, I'm not gonna lie, it was tough towards the end. My wife, she was great. I mean, she was actually more of a motivator for me the whole time, because there's times, because we were hunting a lot of stuff that was 8, 9, 10,000 feet. So you'd get cell service a lot of times and get up on the top of a mountain, and everybody's kind of taking a nap or something. So I'd get to make phone calls at home and talk to them. And I have one of those InReach.
I'm not sure
is
what that
it-
is.
Well, it's Delorme now.
Delorme?
But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and you can text. It's satellite texting.
Oh.
So it was really cool. So at night I could text home and see what was going on and talk to my wife and the kids and stuff. So that helped a lot. But towards the end of it, it was like, but she was a rock. She was just, I said, man, I miss you guys. And she would tell me, you stick it out. You only got whatever, a week, 2 weeks left. And because it kind of ran over, we went to Montana and we hunted with Phelps and Schmidt, and then after that we hunted with Onyx guys because we were kind of basing around the ending around that wrap party that we did with Onyx. We did kind of a wrap up party, and that was the 13th, something like that. Yeah, and so we did that, and then my wife flew out to Montana, and then got the ride back with me because we still had the truck and the trailer, obviously, and so. And that was fun. It was a good time as far as that goes. But
I came back
easy.
and joined him the last 5 days in Montana.
Yeah.
So really, in order to make it happen, you have to have a rock star wife.
Yes, marry a rock star.
Yep.
Yeah. And then check that. You better check that box before you go in doing them vows and stuff like that.
I hear that. That's one thing I've been blessed with is Kim lets me get away with. I won't say whatever I want, but. Honestly, I think she would have me gone more than I could be gone because I went on an elk hunt 2 years ago, 18 days straight, and I was like wanting to, as bad as I wanted to elk hunt, I wanted to come home and see her, and we don't have kids, we have dogs, and I want to come home and see the pups, and it was like, man, that I can't imagine how 40 days would weigh on a guy.
I did 53.
53, yeah. Oh, my gosh, after 18 days, I was like, oh my gosh, like I miss my family.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
You get that, and that's right. I say. It was kind of neat. If it would have just been me and Cody the whole time, we'd have, one, probably killed each other, and two, never hunted again. But it was every 10 days you're hunting with a whole new group. And
New terrain, new style. I mean,
a new state. And not only that, it's people that you've never hunted with before. So your mind's kind of focused on that more than, man, I did this yesterday. I ate this mountain house yesterday. I'm talking with Cody again like I did yesterday, and I want to go home. There was a lot to think about more than just that. It was, okay, what's the dynamic of this group going to be? How's our hunting style going to mesh with their hunting style? That kind of stuff. So there was a lot of differences throughout the whole thing as far as just morphing into other people and other things. So it was good in that realm of new experiences all the time. So
yeah. So Trent.
Yeah, man.
I should say you, Cody, Steve, and Trevor all have families.
Every one of us,
and you all are making it work. So it's not like it's just a special situation that you guys have these awesome. I mean, I'm sure your wives are awesome, but everybody's making it work. Is how does that all come together?
It's just like the hunting, man. Honestly, it's a team effort. I mean, it's everybody rooting around. So Trevor has to do something at a certain time, and so we gather around to maybe fill in the slack on a hunt or something like that. We all we all got together actually just last week, and I was telling the cameraman that was with us, I said, you don't get to see this very often, all four of us together. It's usually three of us or two of us here, or, it's pretty rare we all get to actually in the same spot. And so we really cherish those moments. But yeah, it's just doing it as a team. And a lot of times in the family stuff, we all hang out together too. Yep. So it's not like we're just together at work,
right.
And when we're doing that. So yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, how hard was it to convince? It was Kendra, right?
Yes.
How hard was it for her to convince or you to approach her about, hey, I'm going to quit timber falling here?
I'm going to quit my regular job and start a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Yeah. That's that rock star thing that we talked about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of, no, it's something Cody and I always dreamed about. And just as of in the last, year and a half or so, it's been actually becoming a reality. And if I would be lying right to your face if I said there wasn't ups and downs and doubt. And but yeah, it was
scary moments.
Yeah, it's a big leap for both of us. Cody, he sold Full Draw Film Tour. He ran that and grew that really successfully, and then sold that, and then it was like jump in feet first. Hopefully we have the finances to cover it, and and go for it. So it's been a big learning curve. Cody's been a huge motivator in that with his business background, and he's so smart in that kind of a realm that he's guided the company in the right direction and done really well.
That kind of solidifies what I was thinking, and I haven't told you guys, but I'll bring it out here. Is you kind of seem like the glue or the heart of the dynamic, and then he's like the visionary, the businessman, putting it all together, logistics. Like, here's what we're gonna do next. Like, here's am I off base there, or what's the dynamic here? Because he seems really like the visionary. I mean, you seem like you're really forward thinking, always looking at what's next. Here's what we can do, kind of thing. Well, how's the dynamic work there? Is that semi accurate?
I think you're spot on. I mean, Trent had,
I don't know about any glue.
yeah, Trent had the saying. What was it?
Which one? I got a lot of them. The appropriate ones to say. No,
It's a PG-17.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's honestly, I came up with it, or I did, but anyway, but it's kind of like Cody. He kind of holds the sword and I hold the shield on the whole,
that's cool.
on our moving forward. He really has the forward thinking ability to plan out future stuff and what's next and what's cutting edge and anyway, and I can kind of implement it at times and stuff too. So,
well, you and I have had a lot of conversations. You're no slouch when it comes to knowing what's going on and business wise. I mean,
Right,
I don't mean
right.
to take that from you.
No.
Because you give me a lot of really good advice.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a chance to pick Cody's brain as much, but
Sure.
just from watching you guys and listening to you guys, it seems like you're definitely more of the business savvy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
Definitely,
enjoy that
definitely.
entrepreneurship side of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It was crazy. I still remember this too. On March 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, this last year, 2017. It was. I remember that it was when Hush was coming up for our annual Steelhead trips, the second annual Steelhead trip. I guess it was, back then it was the second year.
Yeah.
That year previous was kind of like we kind of got our eyes open to what YouTube was, what digital space, what we could do. Okay, we made a plan, and at that time it was like thinking it was going to be a 3 to 5 year plan for Trent to quit cutting timber. Fast forward 12 months later, called him that morning. I'm like, okay, this is panning out. Today is going to be your last day cutting.
Really?
And
Yeah.
he went over the hill that day.
You were there.
Dude, that was
That was
destiny.
exactly.
Yeah, it was
That's where
crazy.
I was like going about that. I remember he's like, you
Finally.
wouldn't
Forgot
believe
about
it.
that.
Yeah, I got
I
up on
forgot
the
about
landing and here's this guy. He came up to me and said, "Man, I've been following you." And anyways, like how that all came about was just crazy.
I went straight home and told my wife.
She goes, you said, I got to do
I
this.
said, "You would not believe who I ran into today." I had a great conversation.
Yeah, that
and it
was
was
awesome.
It was last day, after cutting for 19 years.
Yeah, I've never seen a cutter with such a big smile coming over.
Wasn't so bad. I probably quit early too.
Dude.
I'm just like,
We're going to write 6. We got 4.
Yeah, we won't go over the logistics of that.
I'm done. Yeah. No,
But,
that was a great time, and
that
it
was
was. And there's been ups and downs since then. I mean, after the project was over and we were editing it, I mean, we honestly thought that it was financially, we weren't going to be able to make it through the whole project. And I was going to have to go back to cutting part time, cut and then edit at night or something to that effect. But, we've always pulled it out, I guess.
Always made it work.
Yeah, well, so far.
Yeah, and the scary part of it now, we just hired somebody, so
Yeah,
we've got to
with a good pay and everything. It's not like your guys are like doing this intern kind of thing where it's not paying them anything. I mean, it's like it's a legit position.
He's moving
It's a
from
commitment.
Utah.
He's moving. Yeah, he's uprooting. So
Big time.
I mean that's a big deal. I
Yeah.
mean, I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I'm like, man, these guys are like, yeah, they've had their own business the whole time, but now they have an employee. Like holy smokes, that just for a lot of folks. Owning a business means you have employees, and then if you don't have employees, well, they don't know subcontract cutters apparently. But,
No, they don't.
because they're all, yeah. But I want to get into the business aspect of it, and basically, I feel like there's a huge misconception where Trent, like in my mind, I think a lot of people are like, oh, Trent quit, cutting, and now he's hunting all the time, he's having fun, and they're,
Oh,
hanging
no, I
out.
get that everywhere I go. Yeah.
So I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I was actually chasing him. I was talking to him about this last night. I feel like the market is saturated horribly with hobby level guys that aren't committed, but they say they are. You see them on Instagram, YouTube. You see them on Facebook. They're blowing it up. They may have a T-shirt or a hat. Really, they're just trying to make money quickly, I think, and then they're really just trying to get pro staff and sponsored by people. And there's no end benefit for the user. And I just feel like you guys could really dispel that right here. Like, there's a lot of hard work.
Yeah,
that went into that. It was,
and we've been talked to a lot about this from a lot of other people.
Yeah,
and I think what made us successful and got us to where we are now is I asked those people. I say, what do you want to do? Well, I just want to hunt. I just want to hunt. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I understand you want to hunt. And that's awesome. Don't get me wrong. Well, I want to film my hunts and I want to do that. And I said, but what do you want to do? What's your end goal? Like, our end goal is to inspire people,
right,
and to educate people. And it's like, and you got to have a business plan. You got to have this plan of, okay, this is what I'm doing this for, instead of just, well, I want to hunt. It's that's fun, right? Yeah, well, it's a lot
Everybody
of fun.
wants to hunt.
Yeah, I do too. And
yeah, I've got a spring bear tag, and I've been out 2 times, and the season's been open for 37 days.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, and it's we're here on a Monday working in the office. I mean, it's definitely not like this whole. I'm not getting paid to go hunting. I mean, we are, like I said, entrepreneurs. So it's for us. There's a lot of office work, a lot of behind the scenes to make things tick when we do get to go do this 45-day, 50-day adventure.
Right.
I mean, that it's all
escalating kind of up to that.
And it's been 11 years in the works to get to this point.
Right.
We've not done an over, so maybe from outside in, some people see like Land of the Free and then, it happened so fast. They don't realize all the years, blood, sweat, tears of,
right,
to get to where we.
So we went over his basically retirement plan from timber falling.
My retirement.
Yeah. Where he just hunts all the time now and hangs out.
Fish all the time, pretty much.
Yeah. You used to work at North River. For folks that don't know, that's a jet boat company here locally. I've got family that actually works there still.
Shorty?
Shorty, yeah. And Caleb and my cousin Bubba.
Yep. Okay.
All those guys work there. It's a great company. Great product, great boat. But how did you get from there to full-time, bro?
So I had started at North River in 2005. So I was in it a couple years before we started Born and Raised. So Born and Raised, like originally the business plan was to produce DVDs and to have a film tour. So that was how we all started. 2009 rolled around when we launched Tagged Out in 2008. Our wives put on a party at the Egyptian Theater in Coos Bay.
Yeah. Okay.
It was like an invite deal, and it turned into like 300 people showed up.
Oh, really?
At the movie theater. And it was like, all right, so this film tour idea, people enjoyed it, like the energy there. It was all exciting. So that's when we formed Full Draw 2010. We did 3 cities, Coos Bay, Roseburg, and Bend. And against my will, we sold it after that first year.
Really?
Yeah, to another guy in Bend it helped us out.
It was a lot of work.
You just didn't have the time
with full-time jobs.
Yeah, exactly. It was just one of those things like, man, there's so much work to do. Yeah. I mean, we made some money at it, but anyways, so that is when things really shifted. And then I joined back up with Full Draw at that time.
Right.
So at one point, I think there was like 6 owners in it.
Oh, wow.
So we're still doing Born and Raised on the side, working full-time, then had Full Draw. That kind of grew. We did 5 shows, then 7, and then in 2013 is when we did 12 shows, and then I was like, all right, I was able to quit my job December 1st, 2013, left North River Boats and had, took the risk of being an entrepreneur and had a couple other business partners in it that had good jobs that they, had some free time. So it worked as a dynamic. And so
you say that so nonchalantly. That was a big risk. I mean, really. I mean, I feel like not a lot of guys would just up and leave their income and just do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting is like you put it as a big risk when it looks on paper, but like, what's the guarantee? The dynamic, the thing that probably changed my mindset was in 2010, 11. I'm trying to think, 2011, 2010. North River went through a deal where literally the FBI rolled in. Like, there was just this crazy, like the story. I mean, I don't want to go into
That's
details
a whole
about
podcast
it. Yeah,
in
exactly.
itself.
But literally, it went. My wife and I both worked there at the time.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
she ran the human resources department there.
Okay.
I was doing design and project management. FBI rolls in, company shuts down. So here, what's a guarantee? Great job, all this.
I took
Literally.
Cody out cutting. It didn't last.
Yeah,
it didn't last a long time.
Did you pinch your bar or something?
He about cut him.
I did.
Oh,
yeah,
jeez.
yeah. Luckily, I was wearing chaps.
Yeah,
I got a little tired brushing in the worst.
It was nasty. But anyway, he was timber falling wasn't in his.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So yeah, I mean, so I guess that was like the mindset of like, you have a job. Yeah, I mean, it's comfortable. It could end tomorrow. I mean, you could die in a car crash. I mean, all these things go into it. It's like, what's a guarantee? It's a job that comforts. It's false security, in my opinion. So I took this risk. Financially, yeah, it was a tough one as I walked away half the wage. But my wife was in support of it. We figured out how to make it happen. We lived leaner. I mean, all these things. So that was December 1st, 2013. And built that company up full draw and then sold it last year in March. So in 2017, I guess, February,
You guys
March.
are still part of it. Like, you still have your hands in it somehow, right? If you guys were here at the local one. That's where I met Trevor for the first time.
Just helping out. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
This last year. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was involved with it up until this last tour season.
Okay.
And
We were so
and-
busy this last year that we didn't have a video in it or nothing.
Yeah.
We never did.
Yeah. So actually, Jade
That's
Helmick,
right.
Yeah, I know.
Jade bought it from me, and so he actually helped with the tour, worked with me a little bit when I was owning it, and then he bought it. So so I mean, it's a great deal. I mean, it was a cool foundation to help in the interim because Born and Raised didn't have a DVD. We had a film in the film tour. After the TV show,
Right.
It was a good way to get content out there. But yeah, so I guess for me, I mean, it's all about this like. You got one shot at life. You got to just
Right.
make it happen the way you want it. It's your book to write. I mean, you can have it out how any way you want it. So, I mean, I guess for me, you make it sound like it's a big step, but at the same sense, like you can put in the work to make it happen.
Right. Well, that's. I think that's a big difference between the guys that do and the don't. They're just willing. First of all, they're willing to fail and just keep doing whatever it takes to get there. I mean, I'm sure there's been one or two hiccups along the road since you guys have started this thing.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
try things, and if it doesn't work, you try a different avenue and go down another path.
Exactly. And so when you guys left, were you guys sponsored? Were you guys getting paid by anybody? I mean, where was the income coming from when finally Trent came home?
Yeah, we had a plan there. I mean, we pitched the project to some companies, and they financially committed to it. So, I mean, it wasn't like, all right, we're starting at zero.
And that kind of leads into, like we said, we've been doing this for 11 years. So
Right.
we've been with some companies for a while. And honestly, financially, we never really did ask hardly anything from them the whole time. And it was really, really cool that the company stood behind us for that long, that period of time without, us asking for any money, but they were just like waiting. I think there was one company that were just like, hey, we've been waiting for you guys to ask us, because when we finally did, it's tough to ask for money and just say, hey, you're going to get this many, when some of it's a little bit of a gamble,
Makes
and
sense.
it's like, okay, you've got to actually prove that you are building, helping this company out with views and with exposure and stuff. And anyway, they've just been so great. We've been
Right.
with the same companies, honestly, for as long as we've been together. And that's what's so neat is you build these friendships and relationships with other people. And it's been a real blessing that way.
So when you guys, I'm going to take you back to a few minutes ago when you said we just wanted to help and motivate people. To me, a lot of people think, let's get this out there, a lot of people think that your product is creating content like elk hunting videos. I think your product is helping people. That's what I think your product is.
I appreciate that.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the why, right? There's got to be a reason you're doing it. You got to have a why. What's behind it? And ours is just to entertain, to educate, and inspire. I'm sorry. And it's, if we're doing that, if we're hitting those three things, then we feel like that we're doing something right.
Right. Well, I know from experience back when I started my YouTube channel, I posted videos like, hey, kind of look at me kind of thing. I can shoot 100 and something 50 yards with a bow and hit what I'm aiming at.
Right.
and there was no end. I mean, it was kind of entertaining. The footage was absolutely horrible. It was cell phone footage, and I had never uploaded a video in my life. It was just like, maybe I'll get noticed if I shoot really far,
There you go.
And there was no end. Where I'm going with this is there's no end benefit to the user. I wasn't adding value to anybody's life. I wasn't helping people learn about anything. I wasn't motivating or inspiring. I don't think I was. But I started getting questions on, well, how are you doing that? Well, what products are you using? Well, what release are you using? Arrow, Poundage, all this stuff. What are your specs?
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm going about this wrong. People are hungry for content out there. I mean, I think your videos entertained people, but I think they motivated, like I said, taught people, inspired people to get better and go on more risks. I mean, I'm a product of really Born and Raised, in my opinion, and that's why I wanted you guys to be my first episode.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks.
really. I mean, I honestly, I'm not just saying that, but
Appreciate that.
I feel like I've kind of adopted your guys' motto, where that my main goal is to motivate and teach people to be better.
Yep.
Hence the on point motto thing.
Yes.
And when I made that transition into actually helping people, that's when I started to grow. Mm-hmm. And I think people really need to get a good business plan together. Saying this as a guy who's started his journey, but very, very recently into the business hunting industry. You guys can probably elaborate on that more, but you need to have a game plan. You need to have an actual product or a service, not just I want to go hunting, like you said earlier, or not this I want to be in the spotlight kind of thing.
Sure.
Can you guys elaborate on that? Because
Sure.
I see that a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like Trent said, there's a why, there's a mission of what we're doing. We want to provide value, give.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we over leverage that aspect. We're providing free content where people consume this, and it wasn't until the digital space that we could actually execute on that. With DVDs, before was our revenue stream, and now people consuming our content does not make us money. But it provides the incentive for us to keep continually putting out that content,
Right.
and having good content, and not just throwing us stinking around the office making jokes. I mean, it really has a purpose there. I mean, so the biggest thing, like on the business side of life, is just helping people. I mean, and that's really where we just want to continue to help people to, that fear of failure. It's like, well, what is failure? By not trying. Mm-hmm. I think that's a bigger failure than someone going and doing something and not being quote unquote successful and filling a tag or anything like that. So
Right.
for us to provide that kind of ability for people to think outside the box and live, a greater life, that's for us.
And it took us a long time to realize that, I think. I mean, we put out videos and we just thought it was, I don't think we thought it was just entertainment, but we didn't really go in depth of how we did certain things. We just showed everything that we did.
Right.
And it wasn't until, I would say, Land of the Free project and everything, that people really started emailing like, thank you guys so much. You guys are giving away so much of these secrets, quote unquote, of knowledge. And I didn't even, honestly, personally, I didn't feel like we were just like giving away, or giving away is a bad word, but even trying, I guess, to provide certain key tactics or whatever. We were just filming everything, and then people could take from it what they did, and a lot of people took out of it that, wow, you guys gave up a lot of useful information. So that was really cool that people resonated with it like that.
So with the business aspect of it, did you have anybody telling you not to do it? Was there any naysayers? Was there any negative Nancys?
No, I mean, you got those people that doubt it. And everybody's going to hate, right? It's not everybody. That was terrible. No, there's going to be those guys out there, that just don't want to see you concede,
Right.
So or
Expose
succeed.
is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, it's Rogan says crabs in a bucket, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and because they may aspire to do that, but don't have the nerves or anything like that to take off and try to do it themselves.
Right.
But I think everyone's really been supportive for us.
Very.
I mean, and then especially like when we went all in, and here at the Loft, like where we're at in this entrepreneurship space, it's totally changed the dynamic of what our company is and how it can be. These guys have been so supportive, and we have a monthly mastermind, so we sit down, and it's literally it's in the trust tree. I mean, we talk financials, we talk everything, where the business is, where our struggles, where our strengths are at. And, so there's 5 other companies up here, and everyone's at a different stage. So they've been through this, or they, know what the next step would be for us. And that's really changed.
Big time.
Literally, like, in October, we were going, Trent's going to have to go back to work. How is this, cutting timber part-time, because we didn't see it. And one of the guys here, Trevor and Seth, they're like, well, what about this? And they threw an idea to it, and it stuck. And
Really?
financially, it was a game changer for the company. Yep.
So you said the word mastermind. That's a term you learn from reading books.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So you guys read books?
Absolutely
on
not.
Success, business.
I've read a few.
Not if you can help it.
I went through that stage where I was consuming all this content, consuming it, reading it, listening to podcasts. And I remember a conversation with Trevor. He's like, dude, this stuff inside and out. Just now it's the act of doing.
Right.
And it was like that fear of like actually taking that step of like, is this going to work? And, theory is one thing, execution's another.
Right. That's interesting. I kind of have that same background where, take you back, 6 years ago, I spent 4 years in I'd call it like a motivational and personal development, I'd say program, but it was really a mentorship program where you had guys that were way successful and they're taking time out of their day to help you. 4 years, 20-something books later on personal growth and on how to help people, win friends, influence people. It sounds like a really mischievous book. It's just how to connect with people and help them. The Slide Edge, Compound Effect, all those things. I don't know if any of these books sound familiar to you guys. I'm sure they do. There's a lot that goes into building yourself internally before you can put that out there externally. Like, you have to build yourself up previously and make yourself that person that can help people. Like, the confidence level wasn't there when I first started. I was doing speaking engagements where there was, hundreds of people there. And my biggest fear was speaking in front of people. Now I have a microphone in front of my face. And so I guess where I'm going with this, because one thing I learned was association. Like, you guys didn't have any negative association, really. I can tell that because you guys didn't have much negative flack. You're like, oh, no, not really. Most people would, I think, have a lot of negative flack. I know back when I was doing that mentorship stuff, probably 90% of my buddies
Really?
were negative.
And that's what, is it a buddy? I mean,
well, I'm
see what
still
I'm- you
friends
see
with
what I'm
them today.
saying? You see what I'm saying?
You have to be willing to snip it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
and
that
you can
audit
tell.
too of, right, you're a fifth of your 5 best friends. I mean, so they're really holding you back because,
Right. Well, I snipped a lot of them. I mean, and as soon as you want to tie that string back, they're there. But you have to be able to cut ties. And where I'm going with this is that if people are wanting to start on this journey, I'm in the same boat as you guys were, because I surrounded myself with people that are like-minded, because I already went through that snippet phase where I'm cutting those ties with friendships. Well, friendships are rabbit ears, But I learned something that I kind of wanted to share, and I'm not telling you guys, more telling the listener, because you guys already know this.
No, absolutely.
One thing I learned, and I have it written down on my notepad here, is thoughts, words, actions, habits, character. And it all stems from input. If you look at your brain and you have a funnel leading to your brain, your association is your input. And if you're thinking about something, you're going to talk about it. If you're talking about it, you're probably going to act on it. If you act on it enough, it becomes a habit, and the habits decide what kind of character you're going to have. And that has been the biggest motivation for me. Is I got around people that were wanting to help people. And I think that's how I kind of got the heart today. That's why I pick your guys' brains so much. That's why I'm here.
Sure.
It's the thoughts, words, actions, habits, character rule that I learned from them. And being able to have this platform now, I mean, it's just the input factor for people that are wanting to start getting into this business. You're going to have to go through that snippet phase, and you're going to have to protect that input that you're getting. And if you're not willing to do that, for a lot of the folks out there, I don't think they're going to make it. And I think that's why a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean,
I would
you
totally
guys might
agree.
have a different experience, but I just, for folks that are wanting to go down the road, that's my 2 cents, because I'm not as far as you guys are, so I'm going off of my short journey of things I've had to go through. But what are some things that, if someone's wanting to start down the road of getting into the outdoor industry, what are some, I call them ankle-high hurdles, because they're really, as soon as you make that step, that wasn't such a big deal.
Sure. And that's just, I guess, my biggest thing. Cody could probably have a lot to put in here, but my biggest thing is it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't. It's not like, man, I want to do YouTube or I want to do a podcast and or whatever. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and
It's
being okay with failing, I think, would be another big one.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything's a home run. Not everything's
and
a
you
home
can't put it out with the worry of if it's in your why and that's what you want to do, you got to just share it and don't worry. There's a lot of like excuses of why you can't do this or what, all these mental roadblocks of saying, well, my camera's not good enough, so I can't record it and I can't share it, or all these things, like, doesn't matter. Just do it. And it is totally about the marathon, not the sprint.
Okay.
It's a slow build, and I think the one reason why we've found some recent success with Land of the Free is we've done this for a long time. We've built up a great. Our fans are the best on the planet, and I'd say
Really
fans
loyal.
are the people that support us are so. It's such a good tribe, and without that, we wouldn't have been able to do what we were doing because that it's that 1,000 great people have really carried us through this whole thing. And the more, and for us, it's not about the scalability of numbers of how many people. So we can say, oh, we've got 40,000 subscribers or whatever that is on YouTube. For us, knowing that the scalability of the impact that we're going to make is greater, the more people that, so that's our motivator. It's not about having this big fan base and crowd that follows, what we're doing. It's about being able to scale the impact that we can, have and help people.
Right.
So, I think the people out there, if you're wanting to do this, you got to figure out the why. What really, it's not about just getting paid to go hunting.
So your why is basically, what are your intentions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and really define that down to the simplest core of what it is, and then from there, everything that you do has got to land in that why.
Yeah. And you guys boiled yours down to 3 words.
Yeah.
Right. It was motivate, inspire,
Educate.
Entertain, inspire.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
Entertain, educate.
That's
inspire.
pretty simple.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you, Cody? Or Trent?
Same thing. Same thing that Cody said. I would say that, Gary Vaynerchuk is a guy that we follow quite a bit.
Same here.
And he's all about get it out there. You don't have to relish over, oh, is it the best? Is it, because people consume content so fast that in our media space, it's like, just if it hits those 3 things, then it's down our aisle, and get it out there and let people see it. And I would just say, as far as that goes, do not be afraid to fail. And like look how far you've grown in just this last short little amount of time.
Right.
You started out with doing the Facebook and the YouTube thing, and
right.
now you're doing a podcast. And I don't know your end goals.
Right.
I hope they're going to be great because I can see great things. But yeah,
I appreciate that.
It could be as big as you want it to be. Right.
Well, dirty little secret. I found out podcasts were free last year.
Nice.
So I never listened to one until last year. I was complaining to some guys. They're all talking about podcasts and stuff. I'm not going to pay for a podcast. It's like $2 an episode. I'm like, what? You're an idiot.
What?
Yeah.
You don't know the Joe Rogan experience?
Oh,
You're missing out. I'm like, what? And then on the way home, I uploaded the app and stuff from Hoodoo. And about Eugene, I started actually streaming them, and I was hooked, man. And then from now, less than a year later.
Look at that.
Yeah. You have to be willing to take advice and then use it.
Yeah.
And that's when you and I were talking on the phone last time, I made a point to tell you, I'm like, all this time you're spending on the phone with me, I am using this information. This isn't falling on deaf ears.
I didn't think you'd be calling if you didn't want to.
Right.
And I'm not saying it was all the right information, but
you have the mindset. Just what you said earlier.
Absolutely.
How thoughts lead all the way down through into a habit.
Right.
Where you're going. You're spot on. You'll go execute and crush it.
Well, it's just, I've honestly, I probably failed more than most people. I'm probably the most confident, unsuccessful elk hunter out there. So,
confidence is key, man.
But I always think I'm going to kill one every time I look around every bush. But I want to go over the the getting on a pro staff and I laugh because I went through that stage where I was a pro staff whore, I guess. And I was emailing everybody, and it was all about me. This is pre-growth, personally. And what do you guys see out there? Because I see it all over the place. You have guys, especially on Facebook, that have 15 pro staffs, and they kill maybe one thing every 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's just, I want people to go out and I want people to approach companies the right way. I was talking to a regional director of a very big organization the other day. I'm not going to use names, but and I went about it on accident the right way. I told him, like, hey, I got the wrong form to apply. I'm not an employee of this company, but I've been using guys' stuff exclusively for 9 years. I won't use anything else. I'm not coming at you because I'm emailing 15 companies. If you guys say no, I'm still sticking with you. Like, what?
Sure,
I
that's
mean,
good.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
So, how do you guys approach a company, and when do you just give up on that?
It's amazing. That's a great question, actually. It's amazing how just that question, the answer for that, could have changed so much 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's just with social media and with the way Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
everybody, because even 5 years ago, that wasn't really around very much. Podcasts weren't a thing, So, I mean, obviously you're going to do that. You're going to do the cold call.
Right.
You're gonna do the email after, and it wasn't too many years before that you couldn't even email. You had to meet these people in person. So I
Really?
mean, yeah, there was things that just changed so much. Just getting the right phone number and just, we've always had the motto, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. you know?
Right.
So you just keep in their ear and hounding them. And
The same companies?
it's sometimes, I mean,
So, I mean, that's the one thing we said. We are never going to make a sponsorship shift based on money.
Right.
It's about the product, the people.
Okay.
100%.
If you have company B that offers you 20 grand versus company B that offers you 60, but B's sucks.
We've turned down some
serious
big
debt.
offers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
it just doesn't fit in our wheelhouse. I mean, it's not
Okay.
it's not a product we use, not something we believe in. So
I think that's a good way to lose your credibility with people too.
Absolutely.
no, I
You
mean,
want to
that-
shoot yourself
it's-
in the foot and make 60,000? Do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For us, it's a short. That's a sprint move, and we're not into it. So
That's
I mean,
good.
Yeah,
Well
I mean,
put.
all the companies we've worked with has been something we've believed in from the start. I think we've only ever changed a pack company, and that's because they didn't exist at the time, and it's something bigger and better. Or
Right,
a better
right.
company. So other than that, I mean, I've shot a Hoyt since I was 19, 18 years old. I mean, So I mean, I think. For us, it's not about like we're very cognitive of like everything that we do work-wise with the companies. They believe in us, and the way we deliver it is in the authentic, very subtle. It's not like, hey, the only reason we killed this is because of this. I mean, it's a part of a system that works for us, and we naturally show how that happens and everything else. So
in Land of the Free, literally 50-something episodes, I never once thought I was watching a commercial. Like, never thought I was hearing a pitch for really anything.
And at the same time, that's what's been amazing is at the same time people say that, but yet they saw everything. They saw
the benchmark
us
knife.
using the Benchmade knives and the
Hoyts.
Exopack and the Hoyts and the camouflage that we wore and stuff.
Yeah.
It's that influencer, it's just when you see it and see us use it, and I'm not saying that we're anybody more than anybody else, but if that's what you want to do and if that's you see, success in that, then and it's resonated for our companies that we work with. So it's been really great that way.
So
really, really great.
when you approach a company, what are you telling them? What are you saying?
Man, everything is different. You're telling them that, they're gonna get seen, and they see what we've done. I think in the past, and the influence that we've had, and maybe we're not that salesy as far as that goes, and it's taken a little bit, but companies are actually seeing that now and seeing that that's actually a bigger influence.
Right.
And then being cheesy and saying, hey, you have to use a Benchmade knife because it's the only one you can get sharp or something to that effect.
Right.
Go get a Benchmade.
I have heard that the steel that they use in that thing is incredible, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. S9, it's super, super
Yeah.
strong. But anyway, yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah, no. I mean, and it's for approaching a company. It's one, you better believe in what's going on with that company.
Right.
The product, the people, the company's mission, you better be on board with it, bar none. Don't just be like, oh, well, they're growing and they've got a lot of money to spend, so we're going to go use them. And
two, you better believe in yourself.
100%.
That would be the biggest to me. You got to go to these companies, and Cody, that's where he's really, really shined for us, is he puts up these media decks. And so it's numbers right down to the viewer of this is what you're going to get if you sign up with us.
Really?
And there's some of that's a little bit, you're not
Guesstimating.
positive. Yeah, because like Land of the Free, we had no idea it was going to be as successful as it was.
Right.
So we guesstimated, and that's the awesome part about it is when you come in low, it's
we way undershot.
which is cool.
So those
which is
companies
cool.
got a good deal.
Yeah, it was great, but you have to have confidence, and I have all my numbers right here. This is, you sign up with me, and this is what you're going to get.
Right. I think a lot of guys that approach people don't do that.
Right.
I think it's safe to say that.
Well, it goes back to that. Hey, I want to hunt, man.
Yeah.
I want to hunt for
Yeah.
a living. Come on, give me some money.
Yeah, and a lot of guys are approaching people that don't use their products. Who's just slinging mud, and if they get one that sticks, they get one that sticks.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like for me, example, I could probably be on with a bow company, maybe, but that would be counterintuitive for me because I do bow reviews, and a company's not going to want me shooting another company's bow and doing a review and saying how good or great it is.
Oh, I gotcha.
You know,
Sure,
like on
sure.
YouTube. So I will probably never be sponsored by a bow company or a broadhead company. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I have a lot of fun with a lot of gear. So people just really need to find out, I think, what, like you guys say, the why over and over again. What's your why? What's
Yeah.
your intent?
Yeah.
What is your product or your service? Because really, no one's going to pay you to go out there and hunt. No, it's not going to happen. Maybe Jim Shockey or Cameron Haynes, like if you're kind of like that public figure kind of guy. You're producing something when you go out there and you're hunting. You're either producing content or you're a gear review, or you're doing something. You're producing something. No one's just going to pay you to go out and film it with a GoPro to do something. I mean, really, that's what it boils down to. I mean, and I can't say nobody, but your chances are better at winning the lottery.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's
the whole thing with us. I mean, that's our goal. That's
Right.
our whole goal is to the emails we get now of so many people that are going out of state for their first time this year.
Yeah.
Because we inspired them to do that. That's
what I want.
dude.
I wanna
it's
inspire
amazing.
people.
It's
So
yeah.
amazing. It's so amazing.
I got to share something with you guys real quick. We just got a DM on our Instagram page the other day, and it was
Instagram is hot right now. It
Hot?
is. DMs are the thing that, like, I've gotten a few deals through Instagram DMs.
Really?
Yeah. Like more than emails.
Yeah.
I think you're talking directly to the person that actually does marketing some of the times, and that's maybe what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah. Maybe that's a new trend.
It all goes down. Is that what Trevor says? It all goes down in the DM.
yeah.
Oh, so you already figured that out.
Yeah. So this one comes from a gentleman here in Oregon. Just want to share this with you guys. Over the past year, I spent a lot of time watching you guys. My wife and I quit our corporate jobs in the valley and moved to the Oregon coast to a small town where my wife grew up to raise our kids right and spend time making memories. You guys inspire a lot of people, including me. He goes, I usually only hunt blacktails in Roosevelt, but you guys inspired me to try something new. I got a spring bear tag, and wouldn't you know, first 20 minutes on my first day, I got it done. Plus, my 6-year-old son was with me to experience it all. Just wanted to say thank you for all you guys do to inspire us, what we love, and share it with those that keep up the great work. The content you guys put out is so real and raw. That's why it's so easy to connect with you guys. Here's to the next generation of hunting and conservation. Like that right there,
That
those
makes it worth
messages,
it.
100%.
man.
Yeah,
That's worth
it's-
$60,000 a year. That's
It's
worth
amazing.
all the hard work.
It's for us that inspires us to get those types of messages. I
same
mean,
here.
the experience at the Portland Sportsman Show this year was so humbling. So, I mean, just people coming up and sharing what impact we'd had
man.
with them. It was just, it was crazy.
Well, that's one of the things that I think your guys' go back to the why. I think your guys' intent on the videos, no one's trying to be that guy. No one's trying to steal the spotlight. It's just a group of friends going out hunting, doing what they do.
Absolutely.
And then sharing it with guys. I
Yes.
mean, and you're not, like Jason Matzinger, like I was talking to a guy, 4 butterflies land on a leaf and then they take off and then there's a beautiful time lapse thing. It's just raw footage, and then with a little bit with nice camera equipment, you have good shots, good lenses, good
Right.
quality, but you're not like, walking up to the elk and the camera's right next to the antlers and it's all staged kind of thing. That's what I like is you're walking up to the animal with the guy for the first time, and it's all really cool.
Seeing that raw emotion.
Yeah, yeah, and there's nothing against the cinematography, cinematographic or whatever you call it, hunting out there. That's top notch stuff. I mean, I love Jason Matzinger's stuff, but it's just two different ends of the spectrum. And like the Primos guys, like I think a lot of people really gravitated from that because it wasn't really relatable. I mean, not everybody goes out and kills a 6-point every call setup, or what it looks like, you know.
No.
Once you realize that it was a lot of, private property.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it lost the luster, and but at the same point, that's all that was being shared. So that was
That's
like
all
the
that was.
inspiring.
We watched every year.
Oh yeah,
Same here.
Truth 5 when Brad Ferris smokes the bull and throws his bow. It's
That's
just-
my favorite one. That guy's a freaking shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a great shot. But no, we watched every year. I mean,
Same
and we
here.
loved it.
Yeah.
I went out and bought a
Ranch,
hoochie mama.
everything. Oh yeah, you got to have one.
Found one of
You
those in
gotta have
Colorado
one.
backcountry this year.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Meh. Meh.
I remember listening to Corey Jacobson saying he was bugling one time and then somebody hits a hoochie mama and the bull comes in
Yeah.
after he got him in. Like,
Oh yeah.
anything can happen. But
Anything can happen.
well, I think we've covered a lot on this podcast, and I appreciate your guys' time. Is there anything you want to say for yourselves?
I'm just excited for you, man. When you
Yeah,
said, "Hey,
it's-
can you guys be on my first podcast?" I was like, "That'd be pretty."
Yeah,
Yeah, that's an
this
honor.
thing is
Super
going to be
humbling. Thank you.
uploaded. I'm going to upload this thing as soon as you send me the stuff. I'm going to upload it and then hopefully go bear hunting this evening. So
Attaboy.
put my phone away and just ignore all the comments and just go out and have a good time. But thank you, thanks both of you. And Cody, do you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I mean, it's inspiring to hear you and what you're going through. I mean, if there's anything along the journey, I mean, mistakes that we've made, questions we could answer, be happy to help.
Yeah.
But I'm so stoked for you to.
Oh, I appreciate
Yeah.
it, man. I used the metaphor the other day. Like Angry Spike Productions kind of built the road, you guys paved it, and hopefully I'm putting the lines down. So,
I love it.
so,
love
but
it.
all right, guys. Well, that is episode 1 with the Born and Raised guys. And again, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure I'll have you on in the future.
Absolutely.
And,
Many times as you want.
Absolutely.
we'll catch you on the next one.
Let me know. All right. See you, brother.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, guys, so that's the episode with Trent and Cody from Born and Raised Outdoors. It's time to pick a winner. And after drawing from all the names, it was somebody off of Instagram, and it was Sam Bone Rogers. And he wrote in with a question which qualified him, and it was navigating life with wife and kids and being gone hunting a lot. How do they make it work? Well, we covered that in the podcast. I hope you got your answer. And I will DM you on Instagram to get your address. So thanks for writing in. And we have plenty more giveaways where this is coming from. But we're probably going to make them more towards Instagram, or excuse me, towards the iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean comment and reviews. So if you want to get qualified, leave me those 5-star reviews. Make sure you comment, or I won't know that you did it. So as always, guys, I will see you on the next one. Bye.